I need that radio voice you've got.
It's kind of my normal voice.
Oh,
Yeah, that literally is it. That's what I appreciate about you.
Yeah.
When I hear you on the air, you're not doing, this is 98.9.
Everybody, welcome out to the show today. Got some coupons for you for a turkey. It's great. Come on down here for it. No.
She's got it down. I can't
No, I
even
don't
fake
do
that.
Do the
Right.
silent,
Wayne's World.
the
The Wayne's
silent
World.
countdown.
All right, in 3.
Why didn't you say 2 or 1? Why didn't you say that shit? Right, bitch? Oh,
All
yeah.
right, so should we try to officially start this and like get serious, or?
Intro music.
The Coaches Collaboration Podcast.
Hey, this is Josh Pearson.
Performance specialist with the Complete Athlete.
This is Cole Warm.
Certified USAPL club coach and owner of Salutum Health and Performance.
Each week, Cole and Josh will take you through training techniques and tips, talk to athletes and fitness professionals to educate and motivate you for your fitness goals. Plus, you'll follow the journeys of Team Salutum Powerlifting and Get Complete Athletes.
This week on Coaches Collaboration Podcast, we're going to touch on principles of a good deload.
Are these 6-week challenges helping or hindering your goals?
Are you thinking about a cut? Is it right for you? And joining us on this podcast is Salutum Health and Performance powerlifter Brooke Stevens.
The Coaches Collaboration Podcast is brought to you by The Complete Athlete, providing world-class continuing education for fitness trainers, coaches, and gyms, specializing in
Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, strongman, barbell and hip classes, personal programming, specialty clinics, competitions, strength and conditioning.
Get Complete.
Isn't it time to take your coaching to the next level?
Using continuing education with research and evidence-based info and offering specialty services from a team of certified coaches online and on-site. It's time to Get Complete. The Complete Athlete, online at getcomplete.net.
And now, the Coaches Collaboration Podcast.
PC.
I just think sometimes he's too much of a dick.
Eminem?
Like, for no reason.
Do you
Like,
guys-
stop being a dick.
You guys ever see, so,
The Divine Ones? Yes, I did.
no, they,
You're so cruel. Eminem's
That-
the best.
he
Who
is the
gives a
best,
shit?
but so they brought him on to it was like a Michigan Wolverines game, and they brought him into the press conference and were like interviewing him real quick, like between quarters, and he was so fucked up on something.
Oh, shit.
Like there's a video clip you can bring up, and he is just like
How long ago was this?
like out of it, probably like 5-6 years ago.
Oh, so probably before he got off drugs completely.
Yeah, this was like before Recovery came out. You know what I mean? When it was still, what was that? Relapse.
Yeah.
Probably right when
Probably
Relapse
when that
dropped.
was coming out. When he was trying to do all those impersonations and shit.
Yeah.
All those voices. Buffalo Bill, Buffalo Bill. That song.
Okay.
You've probably never heard that, huh?
Nope, I don't
You're
go
not
that
Not like
deep.
that, I
You're
haven't.
not an Eminem fan.
I am not in that deep.
I'm actually
dude.
a really
You are
good. I
not.
like Eminem a lot, but the problem is I'm a mom, and
Right.
so unless
You
I
can
want to
listen- you
listen
can
to
only-
blah blah beep 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 beep
Get
beep
those
beep
Purple
honk.
Hills versions instead of Purple Pills.
Oh my god.
You know what I'm saying?
You
When
know
he-
what? I just
when
look
he
for
remixes
Eminem
that
on
shit.
Kids Bop, and I go from there. Okay, guys.
Eminem on Kids Bop.
That's
Oh, I
legit.
gotta
Dude,
hear
they
that
have
shit.
Drake in my they have Drake, God's Plan, Kids Bop, everything. Like it's
Oh, my.
hilarious.
Really?
So I kind of feel badass, and yet I kind of feel really, really shameful and
Sing
sad.
along with some 6-year-old kids.
You got to get down with a 5-year-old sometimes.
Dude, I'm
How old
telling
is he
you.
now? 6?
He's 6 now.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's 6 now, and
We could have him rap on here.
he gets really, really shy, like performance shy,
Mm.
super performance shy.
Would he
I know.
Would he know if he just had a mic in front of him?
Oh yeah, and then he does this thing. Hello, I'm really close to the mic, and you're like, dude, back up.
I am doing that. It's just this phone thing is in my.
Country twang, Josh.
Oh God,
You mean my joke?
What?
Ding 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 ding.
You don't like country?
No,
that's
not
more
really.
banjos.
Really?
I feel that's
It
more
is.
deliverance.
But every
like-
time
Yeah,
I
that's
think of
bluegrass
country, I
stuff
think
right
of
there.
banjos. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Every time country comes on in my class, I almost bleed.
Really?
Just so
well, yeah,
sad.
in the gym, there's no place, but
No, that is exactly right.
Yeah.
There is no place for country music in the gym.
All I heard was there's no place for country music.
why are you such
In
a
the gym.
hater, dude?
What's that?
Why are you such a hater?
Because it's not rap.
Jesus.
That's
dude.
why.
You're a white
90%
ginger,
rap.
dude.
I don't give a shit. I'll cut you, man. I'll cut you. Get my 9 out. Black, black.
No, I appreciate pretty much every genre.
Except
long as-
classical music.
Like for me, this is how I look at music. If it is satisfying to my ears, like I just enjoy the sound, then I'm down for it. Like it doesn't matter what genre it is.
So you're one of those beat bitches. I got it.
Yes,
Got it.
dude.
No
If I-
lyrics? You don't give a shit?
Not really. Only probably the 8th time I listen to the song, I'll listen to
Oh,
the
there
lyrics.
you
But
go.
like Yeah.
It's got a good beat. Loser.
Yeah, but I think that's something to be said, though. Like, when you say that you listen to all genres. The other night, I was having just a total crap night. Like, mobility was hurting. My whole body was hurting. And literally, I spent most of the night crying over a roll gut because that's how much my body hurt. But instead of having my normal, I was literally listening to the new Casey Musgraves Golden Hour.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things where you could almost see yourself sitting at home with a book with a candle lit, just total relaxation.
Dark Side of the Moon.
Because I hurt so bad that I'm like, maybe I'll just put something relaxing in my ears.
Yoga. We do that a lot.
Right?
Where we'll put on that
My
softer.
mood determines what music I listen to and the situation I'm in.
Would
Right.
you have it the other way? Does music manipulate your mood?
Yes.
Sometimes, yeah, absolutely.
So if you're just feeling good and you have this crappy song come on, you'll get mad. and-
Yeah.
Or like when I put Five Finger Death Punch in my ear right before I go lift, I literally look at the weights
Elevates
like I'm
your
going to
heart.
eat them. Like literally, I'm just going to kick the living shit out of them.
All That Remains kind of a guy. And,
Oh God,
dude, you got to hold on.
dude, I was
With a
rocking,
bullet?
listening to some Hatebreed yesterday.
Never heard of them. Never heard of them.
Then you need to get
Some
your shit
3 Days
together.
Grace. I listen to that shit that's like
You
10
listen
years
to
old.
pop rock. That's what you listen to.
But it's so old.
He doesn't
It's
listen
no
to
longer
heavy
Bon
shit. Yeah, exactly.
Fuck, not Bon Jovi.
You listen
No.
to pop rock, dude.
Pop rock?
Yeah. 3 Days
fun fact.
Grace.
I love 3 Days
fucking-
Grace.
Fun
All
fact,
their
Bon
old
Jovi
shit.
has the number
Except
one
for the
wine in the
Mountain.
world.
Really?
Fun fact.
Really.
Bon Jovi has the number one wine in the world. But you know what I think is
Multiple
funny
streams
is
of revenue
You're telling
right
me
there.
that All That Remains isn't that good? What are you saying?
Not
for you
really.
it is.
Bitch, what?
No. I think a lot of modern rock sucks cock because I think a lot of it sounds the same. Like modern radio rock.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Anything you'd hear on the radio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like who's
I
that?
agree.
What's that band? The guy who sounds like Elvis. Oh,
Oh, I have no idea.
I
Is
forget.
it Brandy New?
No, it's
You're not talking about Scott Stapp and Creed, are you, from the 90s?
no. It's kind of
With
sounds
arms
kind of sounds like that though. With arms wide open.
So you're telling me
That
it's like
Nickelback shit?
it's like if Scott Stapp and Eddie Vedder like had a kid. That's
Oh,
just the new
God.
guy.
Yeah, I can't think of the
Oh, my
band name,
goodness.
but they just kind of irritate the shit out of me because all
I-
their songs sound the same.
I haven't had the
It's
radio
almost like
on
his
in
voice.
5 years.
His voice is so like out there that it's like it was cool the first couple times because like, oh, this sounds different, but then now it's like, Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up.
It's overplayed.
Yeah. I find
I
that I
can
have a
find
different style of music per my lift.
Oh,
yeah?
for sure.
Oh,
Totally.
Same here.
I notice on bench, it's
Yeah.
like trap rap.
really?
Same here.
You gotta
Yeah,
get the
it's super
bench
weird.
dubstep
For bench,
shit,
it's
yeah.
all hip hop. Like,
Yeah.
You got to be kind of in that. That's my snatch, yeah.
Because for me, and I think we've talked about this in another podcast,
yeah,
but
yeah.
for me, at bench, I need to be more mentally there, so I
Mhm.
can't go freaking hard screamo and get
And it's
absolutely
so
crazy.
much more about timing with
Yeah,
bench.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Squats, I go old school. Like squats, I'm usually things like Hell's Bells, AC/DC, something that's a little more. The thing that AC/DC always has for me is they always have a really nice tempoed intro
Yeah.
that kind of builds.
Gets to the point, yeah.
And it builds and it builds. And I think that with squats, because they scare the shit out of me so bad that, that I literally, it's almost like having a
You have
little
to talk
melodic
yourself
pep
Yeah,
into
it
talk.
gives you like
Yes,
a 1
for
minute
sure.
time.
That
Yeah,
you're
I
going to
get
do
it.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you know when the drops come and you get the bar on your back, you're ready to go.
Yep.
I also
Go.
am known to go to some EDM from time to time.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, the band I was thinking of is Volbeat.
Oh, yeah.
I've never even heard
Yep.
of them. So.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
Now,
though?
are we in the
Nope.
trust tree, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I can say anything.
Yeah. And then I'll say something.
Sure. I mean, you're the
Okay.
one editing this, so
Yeah. You can
So
cut
I went
anything
through
out.
a phase where the only thing I could power lift to was Charlie Puth.
I don't even know who that is, so
know
I
either.
can't even make fun of you for that. I don't know. Charlie Poof? Sounds
Puth.
great.
can we play a little?
Yeah. Hold on.
Oh, I can hear it.
Oh, I know this song as
Okay.
soon as I heard
so
it too.
this is what I power lifted to for like 3 weeks. in
How
a
does
row.
this motivate you though? He's singing about love.
You've been running around,
running around.
throwing that dirt all on my name.
Maybe it's
Knew that I knew that I knew that
That's
I'd
about all I
call
knew
you
about the song.
up.
How does
It
this
gets so good. Hold on.
You've been going around
done.
every party in LA. Cause you knew that I knew
His
that
voice
I knew
is just
that
too
I'd
soft
be
for me.
It was so
everyone.
buttery. Like I was just like, maybe I was slightly turned on. I
know
don't know.
that dress is karma, perfume regret.
That's one way to lube up
Got
the
me
joints.
thinking about when you and now
That shit
I'm
lubed up.
wondering
That's
what
awesome.
you expect.
Well, yeah, because it gets really sexy right here. Hold on.
Oh
Hold
my
on.
god.
You just want attention. You don't want my
This makes you want to squat.
That
really
bass-
Oh my god,
that
you guys have no
bass line, though.
idea. I
Really?
know, right?
That bass line's pretty
Like,
sexy.
Yeah.
It was pretty hot. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I
And-
get it. I'm sexy and I know it, and I'm gonna squat, bitch. But
Yeah,
It
I
needs
don't
to
know.
be a
Like I
little more-
literally had 4 different Charlie Puth songs on repeat,
God, I did not know that was Charlie
and
Puth.
yeah, and I don't know why, but
I'm lost for words right now.
I also end up tearing my meniscus about 2 weeks later, so I'm gonna blame the Charlie
Oh
Puth.
shit!
go.
Did not mean for Pandora to come on. Sorry,
Jesus H. Christ.
guys. My bad.
No. I
the
listen to
wrong
that.
Yeah, see, rock. That's how you get
I listen
pumped
to.
up.
I actually do listen to a lot of rock. That's how I figured out Five Finger Death Punch. Everyone's like, "You're late.
Oh,
They've been
yeah.
around forever, and
Been
you're a
around forever.
dingbat." And I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
care. I like them a lot.
Yeah,
They're actually
yeah.
catching a lot of people are hating on them a lot lately.
Well,
Of
they're
course.
getting popular. They're just like anybody that gets
like
popular.
when people started hating on Nickelback.
Yeah, I like intelligent rappers.
Stupid
but like
weightlifter.
Hopsin, Tech Nine, love that shit.
You think Tech Nine is an intelligent rapper?
Dude, I'll play you some songs and you'll be like, "What? What the fuck?"
I've
did he
listened
just
to
say?"
Tech Nine for a long time, and
Yeah.
I would never categorize him as an intelligent rapper.
How do you chop that well? And I mean, all the words he can say. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. I got it.
Yeah, if you need to fill empty space with a fucking grunt after every bar,
That
you
grunt
need to
is
chill
probably
the fuck out.
that grunt's after 50 words that he just put in.
No, he does it
exactly what it
like
is.
after every bar, dude. It's so annoying.
It's just, I mean, he's no Eminem. I get it, but come on, you got to get that gang on when you're working out. Hashtag Theo Von. That's why I want 911. I want that beat.
That's a pretty sick beat, but
Shit's about to change. We ain't playing no games when your budget ain't even a thing. Oh,
you should be a rapper, dude.
yeah. I got that great voice.
The next great white rapper,
The next great, his name is
Ginger Snap.
Lil Dicky.
The closest thing to a great rapper he's gonna be is doing all those like volunteer gift wrapping at the crossroads for all you guys.
God.
Oh,
You're gonna be working
it's
at
for the
Macy's,
kids.
bitch.
Oh my goodness. I could do a lot of covers. I'm not very
He just
creative.
comes back and he's got tape all over his fingers. What
Yeah.
happened to you, paper cuts?
Been
Dude, I was
rapping,
just
you know.
rapping.
Been rapping.
This rap grind is real, dog.
Yeah, 8 hours a day.
I don't even get the
In the
real
studio.
tape. I get that cheap dollar store tape.
Hey
Jesus.
man, grind till you no grind, no shine. If you know what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
Grind 24/7. No sleep, gang.
Because I'm out here grinding.
Hashtag DJ Khalid.
Did you know that song when I sent it to you? Grindin' by NF?
No.
Bitch.
I know the original Grindin'.
Well, you know what? Because
That
I'm
I
out
think
here
was by-
grinding.
Who was that?
That
by?
song?
DJ Khaled.
No, it's from. I'm so old, you guys. You guys, I'm so much older than you.
Gonna blame me.
You guys are both old.
False.
I'll be 27 in 2 Tuesdays.
Oh, pfft. Y'all
2
just be
Tuesdays, I'm gonna
quiet.
old.
Seriously.
I've been paying for my own insurance for a year, boy. Yeah.
Congratulations.
God. Like,
Since I turned
I have
26.
never been so happy for this not to
Weird
load
flex, but
because
okay.
I don't know if I can handle y'all.
Well,
Paid for my insurance for a year.
Why is it
Bitch. Weird flex, but okay.
yeah, bitch. I got this shit. Got it.
Wow.
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 Well, I mean,
Owen
what
Wilson.
else are you going to
Wow.
do? What else are you going to do?
We need a soundboard.
Dude, one of my bucket list items is
Like
for
fucking
Snatch and
D'Elia?
Snacks to like find one of my lifts and put Owen. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Didn't they do that with
Steffi Cohen?
Yeah, I was like
Jesus.
super jealous. I mean, yeah, the chick can lift so much more than me, but she got to have an Owen Wilson Snatch and Snacks. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
I'll
They
take
do that
in a
with
heartbeat.
donuts and stuff. Do the edits on the weight so it makes it look like they're lifting donuts on each side.
Right?
Do you see that one with Larry Wheels and Thor's hammer?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They made it look like he was lifting Thor's hammer when he was from a deadlift video of his.
I don't know if it's.
Look at me work out.
Oh my god, I knew it smelled swarmy in here,
Oh
but I had
my
no idea it was
goodness.
Josh's pits. That's fun. It's all that kombucha you drink. I
I
swear
can
to
put my
God.
sweatshirt back on.
Oh my God, Cole is now hiding his armpits for fear that he's sweaty.
I do sweat
got
a lot when
black
I'm
eye.
doing
I do too,
this.
yeah.
He's got black on. He can't fucking see it.
Does he
Rob
still do
Zombie
that? Dude, Rob Zombie.
was
Rob Zombie. Yeah,
I
yeah.
fuck,
life changing.
Dragula.
I fuck with Rob Zombie heavy.
Mm.
He's fucking awesome.
Moving on. I
You're
didn't-
too old for the slang.
She was going to make
nowadays.
fun of me.
No, I was like, I don't need to know your bedroom tunes. That's weird song
Oh,
to pick.
No, I
but-
didn't say I
No,
fuck
my
to
bedroom
Rob
tunes?
Zombie.
Okay.
I said I
No.
fuck
Once
with
in a while,
Rob Zombie.
once in a while,
Gotcha.
I get a little Sean Paul on. Some old school
Sean
Sean
Paul.
Paul.
Dude,
Yeah.
The Weeknd.
Rastafarian.
Go to.
What? No.
Which one, Joe?
What?
No, The Weeknd. You
Like
don't
the
know-
band, The Weeknd, right?
No, the artist, the R&B singer,
Yeah.
The Weeknd.
Oh, yeah. Duh.
Yeah.
Hello.
No. The Weeknd.
The
Dude,
entire
did
50
you
Shades
not
of Grey
listen to
soundtrack?
Courtney's gonna
before?
experience a couple notches up if you throw The Weeknd. on
I
there.
It is true.
don't listen to
Yes.
the radio, and all I listen to is the same 50
Hey,
songs
Hold on.
again and
Hold
again.
on. Hold on. I'm going to save you right now. I'm
That's
going to
it.
help
You
you.
realize you're in a radio station.
I
right
need
now.
you to hold on. I'm gonna help you out. Your buddy downstairs is gonna love you in a second here.
Country
so what I need
blows.
you to do is I need you to either on Spotify or whatever whatever you use. I use Apple Music, whatever. You need to go look up the 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack. I don't care if you think the movie sucks.
It did. It was
Go
weird.
and listen to the soundtrack.
It's a weird
I
movie.
just realized
I've seen
when
it.
you said that your buddy downstairs, you were referencing his penis.
Yes.
Penis.
What did you think she meant?
His shoes.
I thought
She
we were on
looked at the floor, didn't she?
I was like, well, I thought we were at the lowest level of this building. I don't know.
There's somebody downstairs. Yeah.
Y'all both need to go get the disc now, okay? Sarah, and I love that I said disc
Have
because
you
I'm
seen
almost
that
40.
movie, by the way? Have you seen that movie, 50
What?
Shades?
Yeah, Katie's
Oh my
held me
God.
down and made me watch it.
From what I've heard about the books and then the movie, I'm like, well, this is kind of lame.
I'm like, if that's
The books
what
are
you're
way
into.
better than the movie.
Fucking
Not that I know from
because
personal experience.
Well, it's
I
because
wanted
you
to
have
see a
your
partial porno, let's go.
It's
imagination.
way more graphic in the book than
Yeah,
it is in the
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
And there's way more scenes. Like, it is constant sex start to finish.
Well,
Literally.
good
so,
to know that my 54-year-old mother read that book.
That's hot.
That is good to know. Good genes.
Yeah.
Okay. That gets passed down. Your libido will be good when you're 50.
I said my mother, not my father.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure you have some of her
My
DNA.
62-year-old father
why
could
is
care less about sex anymore.
Happy dad, happy life. Okay, moving on. All right, so, but no, closing up the music thing. Before we finish this, each one of us, right before competition, what's in your ear? So it's the last song you had in your ears right before you had to compete or do a really big lift.
Is this our first attempt or our third?
Third attempt.
third attempt?
Third attempt, clean
Last
jerk,
last lift of the day.
last lift of the day.
You're tired.
Eminem Airplanes Part 2.
Five Finger Death Punch, Jekyll and Hyde.
No, I don't fuck with that song anymore because, especially not squatting, because he talks about how the weight feels so heavy on your back, and like I don't need
yeah.
that shit in my life.
Sure.
Because
I was deadlifting.
I already know it's gonna feel heavy. So, shit, man, I don't know. I'll probably go Wisconsin Death Trip.
Another band I haven't heard of.
Oh, what's this?
I'm not asking you what you will go with. I'm saying the last time you either did a really big like gym
Oh.
PR or the last time you
Needed to
competed.
get
Do you
psyched
remember?
up.
Because I know you're coming off injury.
I don't remember. I black out about 30 seconds before I walk on the
Really?
platform.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I can't. Like, I have no recall. Like, even
That's
this is
awesome.
the same way when I wrestled in high school and played football and
You had no idea what had happened.
like, the way I remember is, like, especially football, I remember through the lens of watching film and watching me do
No
it again.
shit.
I have no
Wow.
recollection
Dude,
on
your
the field.
adrenaline just kicks in.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that my song, I'll not listen to it for 6 months.
Yeah, you got to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
listen to that shit every day, it
Right.
loses its potency.
Every time it comes on, I get a little hyped and I'm like, wait,
Yep.
skip.
Stop it. Stop.
Motherfucker.
Stop.
Yeah.
You need to keep that in the bank
And
for
you
special
definitely don't do it
occasions.
for working sets. Definitely
No.
don't do it for working
No.
sets. Because then when
Unless
you get
it's-
to your last working set or you're trying to pyramid it
Right,
all,
right.
you're effed.
Unless
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
next week's a deload week. This last working set, I have no idea if I can actually do it because I'm a little
Yeah,
bitch.
you need to reach into that tank and
Yeah.
pull out all the stops.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that song, you want to hear about my shit?
Yeah.
Ready for this? All right. So, 6 weeks, and I fucked up. Okay. So I squat.
I want to say something first.
All right.
Now you're making this a huge deal, right? I doubt.
To me, it's not. It really isn't. But
all our listeners are gonna listen to this and be like, "What the fuck is
what the fuck?
This isn't even
It was
a big
just
deal.
one workout. I haven't missed a squat in 200 workouts.
Okay, so here, let's stop. This is a
You
6-week
just
training
foreshadowed.
cycle.
Yes, I did.
This is a 6-week training cycle.
Yes.
What are you training for?
Right now, I'm actually just trying to up my leg volume, so my squat volume, while trying to continually hit 90+% snatch, clean, and jerk.
Okay, so you don't
it's
have
just
like an
a-
actual competition on the line. So
No.
you're not in like programming for a competition, but
Not
you're
yet.
more in a goal, like a personal goal driven programming.
For now, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Once I'm married, then I can compete because I'll have money. You know what
Don't
I'm
tell
saying?
her that.
Well, she knows. She'll
Okay.
compete too. But yeah, so besides the day I got hurt, which was like last February or some shit, if you exclude that day, because it was just a fluke that I ended up falling and getting hurt, yeah, it's been over 200 workouts. So I squat every single workout. 200 workouts. I haven't missed a single squat. Yesterday was the first
Wow.
day. And it was day 5. So the last day of a 6-week program, last day of the last week, the biggest squat of the program, and I missed it.
Damn.
I was pissed. But it's because of something I wanted to talk about is disrupting homeostasis.
I also want to piggyback off of that story because
Yeah.
I posted something on my story on Instagram recently, like a couple hours ago.
That's that thing that comes up around. Okay, got it. I got
But
it.
it was this guy named Matt Winning, who's powerlifting coach, and he's knows his shit, right? And he just posted on his story. He said, "Modify, don't." Well, how did he word it? Let me look at it quick. But basically, it was like you'd rather modify and drop the weight a little bit than fail.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
So let's see.
I have never been so angry.
Well, and
modify, don't miss.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Which I think, I mean,
It's a lot like a meet. It's almost like with a meet too.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, if you miss your third attempt, hey, it's your third attempt, you're probably going heavy. But really, the overall goal is you really want to go 9 for 9.
well, because
sure.
think about this.
And mentally, it is so much harder for a miss than it is to have a little bit less weight.
Right.
Yeah.
So think about that too, that's why attempt selection is so important, because so you made your first 2 lifts, right? And then this third one, just think about how shitty it is if you grind it out and barely miss it. Because if you would have called 2.5 kilos
That's
less
how
than
it
that,
happened yesterday.
then you would have been good and you would have been able to add that third squat to your total,
Right.
then rather than being stuck with that second
Right.
squat attempt.
5 weeks in a row. So every Saturday I've been, I've been hitting a heavy single for the last now 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
All 5 weeks coming up, no problems. Didn't grind a single one. They were all good speed. Each week it was a 5-pound progression, so 2.5 kilos. And yesterday I just couldn't get 2.5 more kilos than the week before.
Shit.
Yeah,
And the last one.
and it's the last one, and it's not
You got to be fucking happy with that though. If you're able to add 5 pounds to your single every week,
Yeah,
like
well,
that's
so what really bugs me is
very linear.
yeah, I'm doing a huge amount of volume right now.
Right. So you're at this week was accumulation of all the volume you did the past 6 weeks. Plus, I'm assuming this week was your highest volume week.
Yes, yeah, period. Yeah, I've never done this much volume ever.
So this was like accumulation of all the training.
Yeah,
This was the heaviest day.
3 nights of insomnia because I was right there.
Well, that's why, dude. You
That's
need to
exactly
rest.
why.
No. So that's why I wanted to talk about disrupting homeostasis. Is I knew last Saturday it's going to be a strong week. It's going to be a week that I have to leave it all on the table. And I already told myself, I'm like, hey, there are going to be nights you're not going to sleep because your legs just won't settle down. There are going to be nights you feel like shit. You come to the gym, you just keep grinding because that's what it's all about.
Yep.
And-
Especially towards the end of a training cycle like that. You're at the toughest time right now. So your body feels like shit. You're mentally drained because
Right.
you've been training hard for 6 weeks.
And the day before, I just maxed out, snatch, clean and jerk, did some heavy pause front squats.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with this rep, it was one of those just barely miss it kind of things because I bounced out of the bottom. I hit my sticking point, came a little bit above my sticking point, and then crumbled. So again, if it would have been the same weight as the week before, it'd have been fine.
Right.
5 pounds less.
Couple things to think about. Here's what I would say. And this is me being the non-coach, and I've only been powerlifting for a year, so like I know shit, but I'm going to go with this. Especially being someone who with squats, man, oh my God. I overthink my squats constantly. I get in my head about them. But you're coming off of 3 days of no sleep. You are potentially in an area of overtrain. Like your body has not deloaded enough after 2 max squats or 2 max lifts the day before. And my question would be, when you went into that squat, because you're amped, you're pumped, you're like,
Right.
this is it. This is going to do it.
Yep.
Did you, because this is what I did with my second deadlift at my last meet.
Psych yourself out.
Did you not only psych yourself out, but did you speed up or slow down or do something a slight tiny
No.
bit different in your setup or even in your pacing?
No. So I have everything meticulously timed on this day because I know how tough it's going to be, and I had it on video. I deleted it. The first attempt.
So salty.
I know, right?
What? Yeah.
You deleted the video? That's how salty you were?
Well, no,
or
because
what?
I learned from it what I needed to learn. I have a limited space on the iPad.
Oh, that's right.
But anyway, so comparing it to all of the warm-up sets and all of the max efforts I've done in the last 6 weeks, same exact speed. It's just that, so this one rep was actually only 7 pounds more than my 3-rep max. So it's not
So it
not
was-
my 1-rep max by any
It was
means.
well within reach.
Yeah,
it
it was-
should have been.
Yeah, it was only 96% or something like that. So it wasn't even there. It's just that, 6 Mondays in a row, it's 4 sets of 5, and each week it increases 10 pounds.
Yeah, dude.
Wednesday, it's 4 sets of 3,
And I mean,
it's just,
only
it was too much
sustainable,
leg
right?
volume.
It's
Yeah,
only
yeah.
sustainable for so long, and you just were so close.
Exactly. Yeah.
So close, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like cringing just thinking about how close you were to like, because even if you would have ground like that was
If
a
I could have grounded
grinder,
it. Yeah.
like that would have been like fuck yes.
I got
like,
through
you
this shit.
Got
Yeah.
through it, and you finished strong, and then but
And I was so close to being able to grind through it. There, I just, again, needed just a little bit more, and I just didn't have it in the tank.
Do you squat with anyone with you?
No, fuck that. If
I've noticed too that I have a hard time. Like, there's this weird little voice in the way back of my
Yes.
head that will tell me you're squatting by yourself and there was nobody to save you. And I know that sounds really dumb and like kind of as I could imagine Josh you saying that's a pussy move. But no, for reals, like there's that little tiny voice in the back of your head that's going to question it too. So 2 things I would have said. I would have recommended like either A, if you didn't know what was on that bar, you'd have totally lifted it. Guarantee it. Or 2, if you had a little bit of a safety net on those top lifts, you might have had that little more gumption of, I'm just going to fucking go for it because they're going to catch this for me if I need it.
maybe. But I think Josh is at such a high level that shit doesn't make a difference to him anyway.
it doesn't mean anything.
I think for a lot of like newer lifters, that type of stuff matters a lot more. But like I'm the same way. Like it doesn't matter. Because you get, after training for a long time, you get used to like give it
get used to being
100%
scared.
every time. You know, like after a while you kind of become numb to that outer
For sure.
voice telling you stuff like that. Like for me though, like if I'm training alone, I'm much more likely to talk myself out of something than when I'm with someone.
Right.
But like as far as getting under the bar and performing the lift, like after doing it for a while, it's going to be pretty much the same every time. That's kind of a constant.
Just happens or it doesn't.
Yeah,
right,
for
but
me-
for a lot of high school kids that happens,
Yeah.
right? Where
they'll say it's 315 fuck.
yeah, exactly. They have mind blocks over either the 100-pound increments or the plate increments.
Yeah.
So like you said, if someone is going for like a 315 deadlift and they just can't do it, but you load 315 with change plates, they'll just crush it because they don't have that mental block.
Yeah. Yeah. And this wasn't a round number by any means either. It wasn't like it was 400 pounds exactly.
Right.
You know, it was, so when I approach the bar, it's always the same. And the moment my hand touches my bar, it's
Automatic.
all I'm thinking about is when I get to the bottom,
Yep.
this is what I do. I don't care what it feels like, because usually my top set feels lighter than every other set.
Because you're
before that.
so dialed
I'm
in.
so ready for
Yep.
this. For me, especially with the fear thing, where you're like, well, what happens if something goes wrong? I'm a high bar squatter, so I can ditch it real easy.
Oh,
He
well, that's
just,
easier too.
and plus that's kind of a skill too to be able to throw it off his back.
So again, you got to think. So I hit the bottom of my squat, come up fast, just about to clear
Your sticking
my
point.
sticking point, start to come down. I literally am in a pause squat position, and then I'm like, fuck, and then I throw it off my back. Yeah, it's same with front squats. I'm pretty good at.
And plus,
ditching those.
you're lifting with bumper plates too, so it's
So
you
I don't have
can
to worry
drop
about
it on the
making
ground.
noise.
Yeah.
And I squat 5 days a week, back squat 3 times a week, every week forever.
Yeah.
So I've practiced dropping. It's just with this one going back, there just wasn't enough leg juice left.
Right.
Ju-
And
So what I thought to myself was, had I week 1 started 5 pounds lighter,
right.
week 6 I would have done week 5's weight. I'd have been fine.
Did you need maybe a little bit more rest time in between your previous set?
I
Would that
don't-
maybe have helped?
I don't get that luxury. Oh, I see what you're saying. No. It was more than enough. It was 5.5 minutes. Or
I was
so.
gonna say, did you
Plenty.
do
For a high
like
bar,
2 or
it's
3 of
plenty.
those victory pump yourself up laps around the gym?
No, nope. But then, so the second attempt, because I went for
How
it
many
again,
times did you try this?
just 2.
Just 2?
So the second attempt, I pulled out airplanes part 2. Because the first time I was saying to myself, hey, motherfucker.
You know it's
I
real
got
if
this
you
shit.
got to pull out your song.
Yeah. I got this shit. So, yeah. So I pulled out my song, and I don't know if you guys know how that song goes, but it takes like 2 minutes before M comes on. So
Yeah.
the whole fucking time, I'm like
The
almost
leading
ready
up,
to
you're
cry.
pacing back and forth.
Yeah, I'm so emotional, and I'm just so ready and just ready to cry. Put the bar on my back, hit the bottom, get stuck in the same exact way. Just not enough. And I kept going to the point where my body turtle shelled to just try to do it. Wasn't going to happen no matter what.
Jeez.
So again, it wasn't a fear thing. It was just the fact that, you know, when I'm doing cleans 5 days a week, snatches 5 days a week, squats 5 days a week, my legs just, if I'd have been 5 pounds lighter, I'd
Right.
have had it.
So let's bring it back to, you wanted to talk about homeostasis. So let's
Yeah.
get in depth into that.
So what I was referring to is, so homeostasis is when your body is just chill. You're basically fully recovered. You're not under recovered. You're not over recovered. You're primed.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that was, looking back, that was probably week 4. I knew so the whole point of training is you want to disrupt homeostasis,
Yeah.
right? You take in that stimulus and then eventually you'll recover so that you can adapt,
Yes.
right? SRA curve.
Yes.
So
What does SRA stand for?
stimulus recovery adaptation.
There we go.
Yeah.
Science, bitch.
Yeah. So again, you take in the stimulus, hopefully more stimulus than you've taken in the past. You give your body enough time to recover. And again, if it was enough to disrupt homeostasis, your body will have a new homeostasis, which is you adapting, right?
Right.
So looking back, I realized I had broken through homeostasis again that 5th week, that Saturday.
Okay.
So after that whole 5th week, that was the first night I realized, holy shit, my legs feel different than they've ever felt.
So you disrupting homeostasis, what that means is you're basically pushing your body to the point where you're
not recovering.
yes, you
Not
don't have
fully.
enough time to recover
Mhm.
between sessions.
Right.
So that's when the shit gets real.
Right. And for me, that's always my motivating thing is now's the time where it all matters.
Yep.
Which
Now
is why
you're-
I got so upset that I missed my final lift.
Right.
Is because, again, when it truly mattered, this is what's going to drive my adaptations. The more stress I can put on my body in the next week, that's going to, again, assuming I recover enough, that's going to promote better change.
Right.
And that's what I'm shooting for.
Yeah. So do you think that first night where you're like, shit, this is homeostasis
Mhm.
disrupted.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that may have been a foreshadowing for that missed squat on that last day?
No, because
Or were you, because you were trying to get to that point
For sure.
where you're disrupting?
yeah, because that's the whole
homeostasis.
point, especially in this phase when it's all about generating that leg strength and work capacity and all that. It's going to be rough.
Yeah.
And it was a sigh of relief, but it was also like, okay, shit's getting real.
Right.
Because
you
I was
almost know, it's both, because one, it's like, this is going to be fucking hard, but
Yep.
two, you're like, sweet, I know I'm at this limit now.
Right.
So now,
This whole week is going to be worth it.
yep.
Every workout that's going to punish your body, you're going to,
Shit just got real.
yep, you're mentally, it's going to be tough. You know, you're more likely to have more dark days where you just have that shitty attitude.
Yeah.
But in that shitty attitude, it was nice because it kept reminding me, I feel like shit, but if I can get through this,
payoff.
yeah, if I can get through all of these squats today, that's what I was thinking Monday. If I can hammer out these deadlifts on Tuesday, if I can squat some more Wednesday, I just kept reminding myself, get through it. It's all going to pay
It's
for
gonna
it.
pay off.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's what a lot of people don't think about this, but that's literally why we go to the gym.
Yeah.
Is to disrupt homeostasis,
hmm
because that's how you change
Right.
your body.
Without challenge, there is no change.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that's just kind of putting into scientific terms, but
Mhm.
that's what you're doing.
Right.
You're giving your body a stimulus, and your body is smart, so it's gonna do what it can to adapt to
Yeah.
that specific thing. So that's what we're doing, is we're just getting better,
Right.
better,
And
better.
so I don't know if this is scientific or if it's just me talking shit, which I usually do. But the 3 nights where it was tough for me to sleep, so it was that Saturday night
Mhm.
where I literally was laying in bed and it felt like at any moment my legs could just cramp.
Really?
Yeah, where my legs are just vibrating crazy. I mean, I slept probably 4 hours solid. Woke up and then it's like I just can't fall back to sleep. My whole body was just excited and
Wow.
it was because again, snatch, clean, and jerk your whole body. So Sunday, I slept fine. Monday, I hammered out 4 sets of 5 squats after 5 snatches, 5 clean and jerks, 4 sets of 5 squats. Big
Mhm.
time volume. Again, I'm not fully recovered, so it just buries me a little bit deeper,
Right.
right? So that night was fine, but then the next day, the weights. So I usually undulate where it's a lot of volume, kind of easy the next day, a little more volume, kind of, things like that. So Tuesday was less intensity, but it felt really hard. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
you're
did
in
good
it.
yesterday. I did
You're
good.
in it.
But that night was another insomnia night because
Jeez.
again, my body was still trying to recover from the workout before.
Yeah.
Worse insomnia than Saturday. So Wednesday I came in and I'm like, motherfucker.
Well, it's accumulating.
Exactly.
Yep.
Motherfucker, I need to still hit 6 snatches. Still got to get this big clean. I've got to get a 1 rep max jerk and 4 sets of 3 squats yet. Fuck, here we go.
Yeah.
And I was like hyped to do it, even though, again, looking back, but when I'm in the moment, I try to push out all these thoughts that I'm
Yep.
about to give you. in the moment I should have known like, oh shit, this is getting real. You know, this week is going to be really rough, you know, whatever.
You have to compartmentalize
for
all
sure.
that.
You have to.
Otherwise your workout's going to be shitty because you're going to be like, oh, woe is me. This is going to be hard. It's
yeah.
supposed to
feel
be
bad
hard.
for yourself. Yeah, exactly. And that's, you know, talking mindset, that's an easy way to screw yourself out of something is you,
for sure.
you think those thoughts.
Yeah.
But again, I'm thinking to myself, no. I'm hitting 92% off the blocks today 6 times.
Yep.
I'm going to, you know, clean this big ass weight, a bunch of drop sets. I'm going to get this jerk. It's going to be the best jerk. I almost broke the mirrors, by the way, because I went for it and missed and got it the second time. Anyway, got my squats, hammered them out, felt great. Thursday's my day off all day. My whole leg, again, moments away from cramping.
Really?
Where it's just stiff.
Wow.
Friday.
That's intense, dude.
Friday, it took me an extra half an hour to warm up because even getting into my start position for my snatch hurt.
Yeah.
Just even
Been
getting
there,
down there,
man.
grabbing the bar, trying to load my lats so I could hold onto the bar.
Been
hurt.
there.
Still got at least a 90% snatch. Great. The clean didn't go very well. I only got like 80 something percent. But again, I'm thinking to myself, just keep hammering. That's what this whole program is all about. These few days.
Embrace the suck.
Yeah. I called these 6 weeks grinding for gains.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
That's what it is.
So again, looking back, Saturday wasn't that big of a deal that I missed, but just one thing. I only fucked up one thing. But again, I disrupted homeostasis. Next week, it's kind of a deload. And again, I have not high hopes. I'm expecting, you know, maybe I'll get a 10 plus pound clean and jerk PR, 5 if not 10 pounds on my snatch.
Right.
It's gonna pay for it in the end. My tendonitis is bad today though.
Really?
My quads are on fire, shoulders, elbows, knees.
Do you get any knee, like patellar tendonitis?
Yes,
at all?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Usually in the latter weeks of my programming, but that's just quad rigidity, right? It's just tight, so I have to really get my supple leopard on and get that shit done.
Heck yeah, man.
I for those of you that get into that suck moment, so for me, again, I can look back and I only missed one squat. I didn't miss squats every day for 2 weeks.
Right.
You know, I wasn't able to hit my clean and jerks for 3 weeks. You know, no. One day I missed one thing. So
if it was more than that, then you might want to think about what you're doing.
Exactly. And again, to me, it's just next time it's just going to be that much better, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's embrace the suck to an extent. Like you shouldn't be in there freaking going through rhabdo.
Right. No, exactly. Really, I'll know if I did too much next week. Week 1 of my next program, just based on how shitty those weights feel.
Right.
If they
you're
feel
still recovering.
Yeah, if they feel horrible in week 2, then we're talking some serious. But week 1, the weights always suck.
Yeah.
They're always lighter. It's always tough to just go from having such intensity to now dropping back intensity.
It's hard to take it seriously.
Exactly. Yeah. The weights are too easy, but still too hard.
Right.
But yeah, week 2, I'll know for sure if I way overdid it. Because if the weights still suck, because usually week 2 for me, technique-wise, is one of my better days, my better weeks. Week 3, I'm a little fatigued, so my technique's a little off. Week 4, I usually suck it up and get it done. And it's usually as close to perfect as it can be.
Right.
But yeah, week 2 is usually how I'll know. Now, if I find that I didn't recover, I way overreached, you know, things like that, then what I'll do is I'll go back in my notebook, which is why I have it here in front of me. And I'll make notes like, shit, maybe we should have started everything 10 pounds lighter.
Well, and that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Is because that's the only way you can really dial your training in to what's going to be good for you personally, is if you go through a full cycle and then at the end of every cycle, you should take a look back and take notes at, okay, this went well. This didn't go so well. Maybe I try this next time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Otherwise, you have to learn. That's how you make every single progressive program be better and better for you.
Yeah, you don't know where to go if you don't know where you've been.
Yep, you got to learn and adapt and make adjustments.
Yeah, and that's why, again, the whole training effect is needed to be just that way, where you know, okay, this pushed me to my limits this time. So I should expect the next time I do something similar, I should push it maybe 5% more.
Yep.
5%'s a lot.
Yeah.
You know, maybe. Or maybe what it's going to be is, hey, I'm going to do the exact same thing, but instead of trying to up everything, maybe I'm only going to focus on one aspect. Maybe I'm going to up my front squats on that Friday.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep.
See if I can
And then
handle
see how
all
that affects everything,
Exactly.
and then again take notes.
Yeah,
and, you know.
it'll pay in dividends 10 years from now.
Yeah, and that's what we're working towards, man. I mean, we're not. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We're
Right.
trying to get better for years and years to come, and I think that's kind of one thing that's lost for a lot of people in training. They are only worried about what they're gonna do that day.
Yeah.
They don't even have. They don't think about
No foresight.
2 years,
Right.
3 years, 4 years. Like for me right now, all I'm thinking about is October of next year.
Yeah.
Because that's my next national meet. That
competition.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's my primary focus. But again, I want to be doing this for a long time. So I
Right.
got to be thinking about, okay, I got to make the right choices now so that I can still be doing this 5,
Right.
10 years down the road.
Speaking of that, just an update on all the crossover symmetry I've been doing. So normally when I go through this amount of volume, I get that feeling in my upper trap where it's like my shoulder's slipping out of its joint. I had none of that. So
Really? For a reminder for the listeners, that's his banded
yeah.
contraption that he has on his door in his apartment.
And I'm recommending it to you guys. So it's $150, and I know that, especially for some of us, we don't really have just $150 just to
No kidding.
spend, right? But what I will say is, again, I went through the most overhead stuff I've ever done, the most volume, the most intensity that I've withstood. I've got no aches and pains other than general tendonitis type
Right.
stuff, but nothing like I had. So it shored up my shoulders.
So what's your regimen with that? How do
So
you
it's an everyday thing.
Okay.
So once I learned the sequence, you can do it in 3 minutes.
Really?
I'll do it every day before a workout. And then on my days off, so Thursday, Saturday, I'll do what's called the activation.
Okay.
So I'll activate my shoulders and then go about my day. And then at some point throughout the day, I'll do the strengthening portion. So there's a strength sequence, and that's really what's made the difference is
Yeah.
taking the time to grab a little bit heavier band and make sure I can do pull downs appropriately, reach over my head appropriately.
Right.
And those I'll do for sure Thursday, Sunday. Sometimes I throw it in there on a Monday or a Tuesday or something to get it the third time.
Yeah, and those bands are interesting, right? Because it's not a static load.
Right, exactly.
It kind of fires up some different muscles and stuff that you
Right.
don't normally hit.
And what's really nice is that because they cross, they're constantly trying to pull your shoulder out of their socket, which is really interesting.
Right.
It-
Yeah, and I mean the movements that you get into, that's important to have that
For sure.
that strength there.
and you can, as you get really comfortable with it, you do something called activation plus, where you add a little bit of speed to the exercise, where that's only shoring up my shoulders even more when I'm doing a snatch.
Yeah.
Where in an instant I go from arms by my sides to arms over my head.
Yeah.
And my body has to figure out, okay, how do I stabilize? Bench is the same way. How do I go from lowering to contracting, right?
Yep.
Any overhead movements, bench movements, again, it's $150. I'm not getting, we have no endorsements with them. I'm not getting paid. Go buy it.
Yep. And I think that shoulders are overlooked.
For sure.
Shoulders and upper back work and stuff like that, because it's the boring, not fun stuff, to work your shoulders.
But again, it's with crossover symmetry, it's so nice because it's 3 minutes.
yeah.
3 minutes, you go through
You almost
7
need-
exercises.
Yeah, you almost need an excuse not to do that because
Yeah,
it's fucking
yeah.
that easy.
And I bought the one where I have belts around my door, so it's at home.
Yeah.
It's set up around a door. I have the space. I just do it. And then they're always looking me in the eye. I mean, you can't back squat if your shoulders hurt.
Yeah.
It's so tough. You can't deadlift if your shoulders are coming out of their sockets
Yep.
and it doesn't feel good. You can't activate your lats well, and you can't bench if your shoulders hurt either. You can't
Right.
snatch, you can't clean, you can't anything. And so, being the dumbass that I am, for a year and a half, my shoulder was bugging me. And it took me just deciding, okay, I'm going into this really crazy amount of volume for the next 20 weeks. I need to do something.
You better get your shit together.
Yeah, and that shit together was this crossover symmetry, which
Yeah.
is so beneficial.
Yeah. That segues into something good. So John just messaged me, and again, this was on my story. I asked for people who wanted us to cover some topics. He was asking us to cover some mobility stuff. So do you have a protocol that you do every day, like a mobility protocol? Or like for me, and for my athletes, I prescribe it like as needed.
Yeah.
So I don't have them do like a specific thing every day. It's more of, hey, your squat looks a little iffy. We need a little bit more depth there. Let's take a look at your hips.
Right.
And let's see if we can throw in some hip mobility.
I have a basic warm-up
Okay.
where it's crossover symmetry for my shoulders and upper back. Then I throw like a slingshot around my knees. I use they're called Skills. That's just the company. It's like a slingshot. And then I go through just basic hip activation stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I touch the bar, me too. If I go through somewhat of the same sequence, just because there's certain things that you want to like build upon when you're going to a snatch. Let's say, okay, turn it over, put it over your head, do the squat. Okay, now add in a little bit more intensity and blah, blah, blah. Eventually you end up on the floor doing the full snatch.
Mm-hmm.
But as I go, if I realize, oh shit, my back is really tight today.
You'll kind of do it as you go and be like, hey, this might need a little bit more time.
There are some weeks I don't do anything extra. And then there are some times where, again, in this last week and a half, 2 weeks with all the squatting, a little bit of knee pain, I'll get on a tennis ball around my medial head of my quad.
Right. You're being more reactive to what your body's telling you. That's how I am too. I'll do things every day, but that's stuff that I do because of injuries that I've sustained. So I know I need to do this stuff in order to, you know,
I used to
not
be the
push
classic spend 40 minutes warming up type guy.
Yeah.
And then I realized it wasn't benefiting me at all.
Right.
And now my warm up is like 7 to 8 minutes or something.
It's much more specific to what you're doing. Yeah. And that's what I advise for most people too, is if you're, because I mean,
and
most people don't have the time to spend 40 minutes warming up.
No.
You know, so what I would recommend and what I do is I'll do, like you said, I'll do some hip mobility with the hip circle that Slingshot offers. I like to do a ton of air squats, just regular air squats. That warms my hips up, and then also warms up my ankle mobility a little bit, because for me, I wear work boots all day.
Yeah.
So that totally, it doesn't allow my ankle to move basically at all. So that's one thing I've had to work on too, and I'll feel what I need to work on when I'm doing those air squats. Because I'll sit at the bottom and be like, ooh, my hip flexors are pretty tight. I had to drive a lot today. I'll maybe spend a little bit more time focusing on them.
Do you do any static stuff?
Not
no
really.
Static pull. Yeah, I'm not much of a static guy either.
So
if I can't dynamically do it, so like that's why I like the band so much.
Yeah.
Is, you know, if all of a sudden I'm like, okay, my hip flexors are a little tight. Well, how do I activate my butt more?
Right.
So that my hip flexors are less active.
So I think it's kind of situational too, because I think if someone has very bad mobility, I think they need to do some static stuff.
For sure.
Because they won't be like, there's no easy way to get through that except for just sitting in that position for a long time and really loosening that stuff up.
Sure.
And then I'll also recommend, if you're a person like that, like Brooke, for example, her hips are incredibly tight. So do static work first. Then warm up a little bit, and then go into the movement, because a lot of times that mobility stuff, it only hangs around for a couple minutes.
Right.
So you want to do the mobility stuff, and then you want to train through that movement, through that new range of motion.
Right.
So if you're squatting and you have trouble getting to depth, do your hip mobility first. Start warming up for squats, so you're keeping that mobility active, and then once you start doing your squats, you're going to be going through that range of motion with weight on your back, which is going to help that range of motion stay.
Yeah, I've given people mobility days. So let's say you squat just once a week. Maybe 3 days later, I'll give you a mobility day where it's, okay, you're going to put less than 135 on the bar.
Yeah.
And you're going to take a 10-second tempo down, 10-second tempo up type thing, but only one rep at a time so we don't fry your nervous system. But all I want you to think about is making sure that, you know, ankles stay stable, your hips go where they need to. That's it.
Yep.
And then work on all of the soft tissue work you need to, so you can achieve 3 sets of 1 really controlled squats. Because like you said, it's a continuum. You just got to keep going, and eventually it'll kind of fix itself.
Yeah, and it's kind of a tough situation, because like I said, mobility work. So in mobility work, you're kind of working more of your tendons.
Yeah.
And less of your muscle.
Right.
You know
more
what I mean?
connective tissue.
Yeah, more connective tissue, less muscle. So with like regular stretching, you can get away with doing a half-hour stretching at night and not doing anything after, and you're going to get more flexible. But just through your muscles. But like for mobility-wise, I'm talking about more that connective tissue.
Yeah.
And that stuff doesn't really stay as long.
No.
You got to do it, and then you got to get moving in that range
It's
of
weeks
motion.
and months of doing it that it
Exactly.
finally makes
It's
a
like
difference.
just chipping away a little bit at a
Mhm.
time, and eventually it'll come. But it's kind of a slow path.
Yeah.
That's why it's tough, because there's so much different mobility stuff. That's why it's very person to person, and you
Mhm.
got to focus on what you need to do. Because like if your shoulders are already mobile enough, then why are you spending time
For sure.
mobilizing
Yeah,
your
yeah.
shoulders?
You're just wasting your time.
yeah.
So here's a plug. So with the Complete Athlete, we've got 240 free videos for you,
Damn, dude.
right? And there's about 40 of them just talking about foam rolling and stretching and things like that. Some of the basic things that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Soon I'll be putting on, here's my activation sequence, here's more. There's just a lot of other things that I've been doing. And use those. They're free.
Yeah.
Okay, use them. But so, and I talked about this, and this is why I bring it up. With mobility, what Cole and I are talking about is mobility that you can control, not that you just have,
Yeah.
right? So just being slacked isn't what we're getting at. More range of motion isn't always right,
Right.
right? So just because you can,
You can mess yourself up. with-
exactly, just because you can get your tailbone to touch the floor,
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're squatting appropriately. You're squatting
Correct.
too deep. There is
Yeah.
such thing, right? So make sure when you guys are assessing yourself that it's not that you just think, oh, more mobility is better. No,
Not
you might
necessarily.
have enough mobility. You just
Yeah.
might be a little tight today.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. And that's why I like getting in there, moving around a little bit,
Yeah.
feeling my body, feeling how it's responding to these different movements, be like, oh, like I said, my hips are a little bit tight. I'm just going to spend a little bit more time there than I normally
Right.
do. It needs a little bit more
Exactly.
attention. Instead of being
Every day I'm
blanket,
gonna do. Yeah.
doing a whole blanket of
Mhm.
40 minutes of this stuff, because like I said, it's tough to say that it's a waste of time, but it's kind of a waste of
It
time.
is, because if, let's say you did your ankles first and then you went through all this other shit.
By the time you're done, your ankles
are tight.
right back where they
Yeah,
were.
exactly. And you almost have to
Yeah.
start all over.
Yeah. And I think it's important for people to know that, because mobility has been not so much anymore, but I remember like a couple of years ago, mobility
Buzzword.
was a huge fad,
Mhm.
especially in the CrossFit world.
More mobility, better.
Yeah. People were freaking foam rolling for 30 minutes, sitting
Mhm.
with a lacrosse ball on their back for another 30 minutes, and then going to lift. It's like, geez, dude.
Right. Yeah. And with that always bugged me, because if you're spending that much time, when you foam roll, it's a massage. It feels good. It calms you down.
Mhm.
It's not hyping you up.
So I want to bring this back to that modify, not miss thing.
Yeah.
So I think in your situation, I don't have a problem with you missing that.
Right.
Just because of all the circumstances, like it was bound to happen, and it just like
Yeah.
this was the week that it happened.
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
because you were doing so much volume and so much frequency that like it's not sustainable. It's just like, how long can I keep this
Exactly.
going? And you were just 1 week a little too
One
long.
day too
Right.
long. Yeah.
So, but for most of the time, it's not worth going heavy and missing a lift,
Right,
because
for sure.
you're not gaining anything out
Right.
of that.
Yeah.
When
All
you
I
could,
gain is motivation for the next time.
exactly, but like training wise, why wouldn't you just go 5 pounds less
Mhm.
and make a lift?
Mhm.
You know, because like missed lift is hard, but you're not going through that range of motion, and
Right.
like the risk for reward is not there.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So leave your ego.
Mm-hmm.
This, and then again, like I said, your situation is different
Right.
but for most situations, for people in the gym,
If it was, he's talking about, like, for example, if he's talking about me, who's
No,
only
no,
been
I get it.
powerlifting
Right.
since,
Totally get it.
October 17,
Yeah, I totally get it.
he's going to look at me and go, you have so many things you're risking by trying to go that heavy. Like,
Yeah.
my form is already, like, I'm still in the point where I'm still perfecting parts of my form.
For sure. Yeah,
my
yeah.
form's going to fall out because it's that heavy. Mentally, he knows that, with me, for example, having been beating myself over some injuries over especially the last 4 months, things like that, like any of those little detrimental things will start to stack on someone
sure.
like
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
And it can actually turn me ass over tea kettle
Yeah. The-
in my
the juice-
mindset.
the juice isn't worth the squeeze, because
Right, right.
like maybe that weight is always going to be there. So we're going through this with Neil right now, as he's been,
He wants that 400-pound squat.
yeah.
He wants
and
50 pounds more than he's got now, yeah.
Neil is one of a guy who trains with us at the gym, and he's been injured for a long time. He's been coming back from these injuries, and he's been getting very strong very quick, but he's been very, very smart.
Yeah.
So instead of, like, there's been days where it's like, dude, you could squat 405 today, But he's like, you know what? He's got a plan. He does a heavy double, and he goes up 5 pounds every week, depending on how it's looking. Like this week, I think he hit 390 or 395 for a double. And I'm like, dude, like in the back of my mind, I didn't even verbalize it to him because I know he's fighting it too.
Right.
I'm like, dude, you totally could have hit 405 today.
For one. Yeah.
Right. But 405 is going to be there the next week, the week after that, and the week after that. Why wouldn't you spend your time building this?
Right, for sure.
So then when 405 comes around, you fucking crush it.
Yeah.
You know, and then he keeps that momentum going that he's got right now instead of blowing your load
for sure
and fucking being even if you get it, you grind and you fucking screw up your training because now you're crushed for the next 4 or 5 days because you had this 1 rep max. Now you're messing up all your accessory work, your accessory days, and you're going to put yourself behind the 8 ball for the weeks to come.
Right.
Whereas he's as one of the coaches that I've had, Joey Flex always says, stay in the pocket.
Yeah.
So you want to get really, really close to that wall and push that wall a little bit further, but you don't want to fucking knock that wall over.
Yeah.
You know, you want to get there, push a little bit more every single day. So, and then at the end of a training cycle, that wall is going to be, 100 yards further than it was when you started,
And
but
then
you didn't
push it some more.
Yeah. You don't want to run through that wall.
Yeah, so to put pushing it as far as you can without breaking through.
Yes.
So this is the first time with this program, and again, I'm upset, but I'm not upset because reviewing the videos, my knees didn't cave in, my ankles were perfect, I didn't wink at the bottom, everything was great.
Yeah.
It all came down to there just wasn't enough leg.
Right.
Fine, right, no big deal.
Yeah. You know what went wrong.
Exactly.
It's not like there's a freaking
it's not like I was on my toes or
exactly.
I didn't round my back until the second rep where I just wanted it and I was like, fuck form, I'm just gonna get it.
Yeah.
But again, so I said fuck form, I'm just gonna get it once out of 30 squat sessions.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Right.
it's not, and again, it's not that big of a deal. It being high bar, it's not as dangerous. And I'm coming into it fatigued. I can't actually. I'm not like a power lifter where I only squat Monday and Friday.
Yeah.
Where you can do so much more weight that you can get hurt.
Right.
For me, it has to be so strategic. But the hardest thing for me was in the last 6 months, I've made adjustments to my form, and it's paid off really well. Where 3 rep max squat has gone up 30 pounds. I mean, I was doing four.
That's awesome.
I was doing 4 sets of 3 at my old 3 rep max squat on Wednesday.
Wow.
Does that feel amazing?
Yeah, it does. It really does. My old 1 rep max, God, I did it like fucking at least twice, maybe 3 times, whatever. Front squat's gone up 30 pounds. Clean and jerk went up 24 pounds. Snatches.
Right.
So everything
yeah.
just like jumped on me. So me missing this one, I just made that little miscalculation.
Yep.
So it makes me learn
The grand
something.
scheme of things,
Yeah.
this was a very successful training
for sure.
program. Like it was just that one little cherry on
Yeah.
top that got fucking
Yeah,
ripped
yeah.
away from you, and it makes you a little salty.
Yeah. So the gentleman Neil that you were talking about brought up deload week. Here's what I'll say. Powerlifter, after what I went through, you need a deload week. Weightlifter, suck it up, buttercup. But am I justified in getting a deload week? Sure. I could definitely take a deload week. I have it planned where next week, it's almost as though I'm doing what I did through the 6-week program, but I'm starting at week 2. So I'm going back over a month in weights.
Right.
Okay. Less total volume, but same weight. So the intensity's there.
That's exactly what I want to touch on.
Yeah, I'm
too.
probably doing about 60% the squat volume, so just a little over half.
Yep.
At about 85% intensity, so it's right around the same powerlifting deload specifications we talk about.
Yeah. So for me, and I've recently kind of switched up the deload protocol that I do with my athletes. It's I used to pull volume and intensity.
Yeah.
But recently, and I've found it to work a little bit better, is I keep intensity relatively high.
Yeah,
I'll drop it
90-ish,
maybe.
yeah.
I'll drop, and this is from their already training intensity. I'll drop it maybe 10%.
Yeah.
But I pull volume back.
Yeah.
So I'll still, for a lot of my athletes, I have them at least once a week on all 3 lifts. I have them work up to a single.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of that single being at like an RP 7 or 8, it'll be at like an RP 6 or sub 6.
Yeah.
So they're still working up to a single and touching some weight that week, so that the next week they're not shocked by the weight. So they'll still do heavier weights, but instead of like a standard 3 sets of 6 that they were maybe doing the week before, they'll maybe do 3 sets of 3.
Yeah. For me, I'm thinking, so I just accumulated so much fatigue, so much that I don't want it to just go.
Right.
Because it's not like I super compensated to the point where I got a new max of anything. That whole 6 weeks was literally just do what you can, snatch, clean, and jerk. See if you can pull out some crazy days, but hammer your squats, bring up your leg strength.
Yeah.
And now by cutting my squat volume, my next 4 weeks, I can actually start to focus on, okay, let's take all that leg juice that I just used. Let's recover some of it. And by about week 3, I should be hitting a PR.
Yeah.
That's my whole goal, even with missing that squat. Because again, I'm a weightlifter, not a squatter.
Right.
So what that squat was, it's kind of like a sign to my body, like just a little more.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it motivates me even more, which is kind of cool because it's almost like even though I didn't get it, my body's like, you know what? Fuck it. Next time you've got it. You know, that kind of a thing for me.
Yeah.
Because typically squats are third.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday it was second. And as soon as I did that, didn't do that squat, I still had my drop set to do, blew them out of the water, speed, great form, great everything. So again, it was just, I didn't have that intensity that day.
Right.
But then afterward I had other exercises, push press, deadlift, things like that.
And everything went well?
No.
Really?
My legs were so shot, I couldn't even do all my push presses in a row.
Wow.
I was supposed to do 5s and I was doing like 4s and 3s.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, it pushed my legs beyond where they've been in a long time. But again, last time I did the same thing, I came back and that's when I got a 24-pound clean and jerk PR. So
yeah,
again,
it's that super compensation, that rubber band effect that happens.
I'm actually going to be playing around this next phase where rather than having linear progressions on everything, I'm going to have a few things that don't progress.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to see how that goes.
Well, yeah, and that's one thing that for some people is a good idea because if you're for a training program, it might be beneficial to focus on 1 or 2 lifts.
Yeah.
You know, like for me, out of the 3 lifts, my squat leg's way behind legs where it should be.
Yeah.
So maybe these first couple of phases, I have my deadlift volume lower than I would.
Right.
So then I can pull energy from that and put it into my squat.
I agree. Yeah.
You know, because that, just because every lifter has their own needs.
Yeah.
So, and everything affects everything.
Yes. Yeah,
so like you,
my work capacity is way up now.
Right.
Yeah.
But you keeping one standard, you know what I mean? Keeping one the same.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to pull that energy that you would be using if you have them going up as well and put them towards something else. So you're basically just reallocating your resources.
Yes. So a lot of people are probably thinking, well, aren't you going to plateau if you're doing the same thing? No, because for me, it's only
again, everything affects everything.
Right. But if I have, let's say 3 exercises on a day, maybe a couple of days, one of them will stay the same. But intensity-wise, a different exercise will still be going up.
Mm-hmm.
Where,
and for you, a lot of
your
movements are very similar to the other movements.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a lot of carryover.
For sure.
From movement to movement.
And so maybe one day I let it be stagnant, but then 3 days later, whatever exercise I was stagnant on, now I'm trying to crank on that. So let's say it's the clean, and then the snatch isn't so big of a deal. Where, not that what I did before was wrong. This is just different now, where instead of trying to build a total, I'm trying to just build one over the other.
Yeah, so what you're doing is basically you're undulating the movements.
Right.
Versus, because like daily undulating periodization, you're undulating the volume.
Yes.
But you're basically undulating the movements.
Completely, yeah.
That's interesting.
And from a technique standpoint, it should be fine.
Yeah.
Because I'm still getting at least 3 days of where the intensity needs to be. But what's really interesting is I've done this in the past about a year ago, and I just remember the weight being the same, it got harder and harder every week.
Yeah.
Which was so bizarre to me.
That's what I'm experiencing right now with squats.
Hitting the same single all the time?
Yeah, and
just trying to keep that intensity there.
Because where I'm sitting right now is if I want to see my squats go up, I think I need to add in a second day because again, I'm still just squatting 1 day a week, and I'm kind of at that threshold where one a week isn't gonna do it anymore.
Isn't enough fatigue.
Right. So I'm gonna need to add in another day. But
so how do you decide? So are you gonna? I mean, I assume 1 day is gonna be triples, sets of 5, whatever, higher volume, and then you're gonna have singles to triples on the other day. How do you decide which takes precedence? Like, are you going to go hard volume and then just kind of lag on intensity?
Depends on the phase I'm in.
Yeah.
So right now I'm far out from a meet.
Mm-hmm.
So I might even do sets of 6 to 7 on both days.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
One day I'll work up to a single. But instead of 5
sets on one day, you might do 4 and 4 or
right.
something.
One day I'll work up to a single, and then the other day I won't.
Yeah.
So one day will be my higher intensity day, because I'm touching a heavier weight. But I still might drop that down to do sets of 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the quote unquote volume phase.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of like, I'm going to 8 rep max and then do 3 drop sets at 15%?
No, I don't really do rep max sets.
Okay.
Just because that can get
gnarly
gnarly
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a set of 8 takes 10 minutes.
Yeah. And it's hard, right? Because like that's the one thing that I've kind of had a tough time with 5 rep maxes even. Because how do you determine that weight? Because what if you go a little low and you hit 5 reps and you're like, shit, man,
do you do another set?
That was easier than it should have been. But I just taxed myself with that 5 rep set. Now your next set, even if you put on more weight, you might not get it.
Right. Maybe you just decide to program it for 6 weeks.
Right.
And that's how I'll do like a 3 rep max. The first week, I'll do something I feel pretty damn good about that I can do 3 of. It might be a little bit of a grind, and that's fine. But then I'll linearly progress it. Because again, for me, squats, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
To be honest, as long as my leg strength continues to get better and my snatch, clean, and jerk goes up,
right.
Squats don't matter at all.
They're just a tool for you.
Exactly. But again, that's helped me. That's helped some of my athletes where, hey, we want to do a 5 rep max. Let's spend a month trying to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting because I learned a ton this last phase. I learned how to deal with a lot of, like I said, insomnia and things like that. So I was able to push my leg work capacity. I can't remember. It was like 20 something % than I've ever done before.
Wow.
Right. So while at the same time, and this is what is interesting about weightlifters, is we can't go very long without attempting heavy singles. So it doesn't have to be me trying to get a PR all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was the hardest part for me this phase was I had to mix the two because it's been a while since I've hit some heavies.
Yeah. That mixed in with the heavy squats.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah. So the final week, I snatched at least 90%, 13, 14 times.
Wow.
Which is a lot. Clean and jerk wasn't so many because those are more fatiguing, more weight. But it was really interesting figuring out how in the fuck do I put enough speed on this bar even though I know my legs just don't have the same like it would. Again, I can't wait until I get to taper because I haven't tapered in so long. I just can't wait.
Yeah.
Like I said, last time I tapered, it was a 24-pound clean and jerk PR over the 4-week taper because it takes me a long time to actually taper.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And here, I just kind of want to map out the whole deload thing a little bit more. I want to go more into detail on that just so our boy Neil can get the answer he's looking for.
Yeah.
So, a couple things, right?
And we're talking powerlifting deload.
Yeah, and I mean, but deloads kind of apply across all of training.
Right.
Everyone, I mean, it's...
At some point.
Yes. Yeah. And deloads can vary on many different levels. It can depend on how much volume you're able to sustain and recover with. So your MRV, which is your... What is it? Your
maximum recoverable
volume. Yes, thank you.
Voluble.
And it depends on your age. Depends on how frequent you're doing the lifts. There's lots of different variables.
How big you are, how much weight you're moving.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Bar weight is going to be a huge one. But basically, guidelines that I start my athletes out with when they come to me, and I do this personally too. I think for a power lifter, 3 training weeks to a deload is usually how I go. I usually go 3 to 1. And one that just works out coaching wise because I go
month at a time.
I go by 4 weeks. Yep. And there's people like Amanda who doesn't necessarily need a deload because her MRV is ridiculously high. She can recover from a lot of volume very quickly. So for her, a whole week of deload might set her back a little bit just
Right.
because she recovers so fast.
And her athleticism will go down.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, it takes me, especially where I'm at right now, my MRV is very low because I haven't been training that much. I will probably need a full week to deload.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But so I'd say for most people starting out, if you need to get a baseline, I would start with 3 weeks training to 1 week deload. And then like we mentioned before, for your deload, try and keep your intensity relatively high, but just cut back a ton of your volume. And you can still do your accessory work. I would say maybe go a little bit lighter on that, but I don't think that would affect you a ton if you keep your accessory work up. I mean, unless you're doing leg press sets at 20 with more weight than you normally do.
Right.
But
Right. Yeah, you don't want to generate more fatigue.
Exactly. So for your big three, keep, I would say, within 85% your intensity, and then cut your volume by maybe 60%.
Yeah.
And then accessory work can vary depending on what your accessory work is. If your accessory work involves a lot of barbell movements, I would cut down the volume on that as well. But as far as we're talking curls and lat pull downs and stuff, you can pretty much keep those where they're at. But yeah, those are good guidelines to start with, and then from there you can tailor it, right? So if you take a full week deload, and then you feel like when you get back under the bar on the Monday of the next week, if you feel like detrained, the bar feels like very foreign, and like maybe you need to take a shorter deload,
Right.
you know? So maybe instead of starting on your last training day of that prior week, maybe you wait and maybe do a training day of each early in the week. You know what I mean? So if your deload week is typically from Sunday to Sunday, maybe you don't start your deload week until Wednesday. And maybe you do a squat, bench, and deadlift within those first 3 days of the week. You know what I mean? And then deload the end of the week.
Right. Yeah, 5 days instead of
right. So
7
you
or
can
9.
you can mess with it if you feel like, one, you're taking too much time off and it's negatively affecting you, or two, you may need to take more off.
Right.
Because there's guys, you know, the strongest guys in the world who, before a meet, the last heavy deadlift will be like 20 days before they meet.
Yeah,
just
2-3
because
weeks,
they need that much recover for that top end strength of that deadlift.
Right.
So it's all very individual, but I'd say that's a really good baseline to start with, and then you can tweak it from there.
Right. Weightlifters are so crazy with their deloads because, again, it's such a technical sport too, where if
you can't afford to take that much time off of doing those lifts.
you kinda, yeah. It depends upon how rough your taper went. So for someone like me, once a year, I'll deload between 2 and 3 weeks in a row. If I, put 24 pounds on my clean and jerk in a 6-week period, you know, there's so much intensity that comes with it. Your joints take a beating. And then there's people that go to the Olympics and they take a year and a half off and don't even think about it. And then they finally come back to it, and it's rusty at first, but when you've been doing it 20 years, it's pretty easy to
That's how a lot of
brush that
fighters
rust
are
off.
too.
Yeah.
A lot of fighters, they won't be back in the gym for 2 months or something after their fight.
Yeah, depending
Because-
if they have another fight coming up or
And think about that too, is they're at that point, they're probably burnt, and especially Olympics
sure.
too, they're probably burnt out. You know,
I mean, that's the most intense training for
Yes.
something like Olympic, or even like when you're talking professional sports. Like, look at even these hockey players on the NHL. When they're off on summer, they'll go do fun summer leagues and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But they literally do nothing but sit and like enjoy family
Chill, yeah.
because of the fact that they have come out of it's almost like we talk about how our nervous system just kind of shuts down a little bit after like our biggest lifts. Think about it having to be your biggest top performance. Like, think
of your
about
life.
playoffs. Think about like Stanley Cup playoffs and the amount of games they're playing.
Right.
And
or
then,
like an Olympic athlete where you've been thinking about this day for 4 years or maybe even longer. You know, you've been training specifically for that day for so long.
And you train 9
after
to
that
11
day,
times a week.
yeah, you're just gonna want to be as far away from the
Right.
gym as possible.
Yeah, take a year off.
I wonder how many mental breakdowns they have though for the people that think this is going to be the best break ever, and a week into it, they literally are like, I need to learn to knit or something because
Yeah.
They
because
don't know
I
what to do
guarantee coaches
themselves.
are like, sit down,
Yeah.
Right.
sit down. Like, I guarantee that's part of being a coach
Can
with
you
that
imagine
level
how
of
it
an
feels
athlete.
if you bomb out?
Ugh.
Could you
You know how
imagine?
And
hard
you
it
have
would be
4
to-
years to wait.
You spent 4 years. You're on the Olympic stage. You're hopeful to podium. You're gonna get, gold, bronze, silver,
Dude,
whatever.
that makes me sick just thinking
and you
about
miss
it.
all of your first lifts.
Ugh.
Or you get all of the medals and you just start smoking pot and lose all your endorsements. Whatever, Michael Phelps.
You know, it is what it is.
Like
He's
it's
still worth
they're
millions.
all just at such a different mental game.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. Like even watching these runners whose bodies physically shut
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Like, I can't.
That
like,
competitive mindset
Yeah.
can take you to
What's-
crazy places.
What's kind of tough though is because they've made it. They've got those endorsements. They've got the money coming in. They can spend so much more time on it. They don't usually have another job.
Mhm.
That they're being paid to take 6 months off, a year off, whatever. Maybe they run around and do magazine ads or whatever. We don't really have that luxury.
No.
You know, our sports don't really make us that much money, even if I mean, granted, if one of the Americans goes to the Olympics, they get a free ride and it's great, but they're not making a ton of money.
No.
right.
You know, they can make it their full-time job at the top 3 lifters or something
But
like
you're
that.
still I mean.
Yeah, you got to grind. You
Yeah,
gotta
and
keep
even
grinding.
if you live off of their stipends, that's not a very
No.
great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
You live
livable.
in the gym.
It's
Yeah.
livable, but you
A lot of guys live with other lifters
Yeah.
in an
Yeah.
apartment somewhere. Yeah.
I think it's one of the reasons that for the average person that is becoming a competitive athlete. I mean, prime example for me is I grew up always wanting to be a competitive athlete, and I absolutely sucked at sports. Okay, like I was bad. Like here's the swarthy girl who's overweight and can't run and is slightly asthmatic. Okay, like it was not good, you guys. You have no idea.
Nice description.
My mom was like, "Don't you want to try math club?" I'm like, "No, mom, I suck at math too." Okay,
Damn.
so you know,
But I'm really good at talking.
not an effing nerd, mom.
right?
I'm really
Even
good
though
at
it totally
talking.
was.
Put a mic in front of me.
Right? But no, like I remember I was goalkeeper in soccer, terrible at it. I played basketball, but I was so tall that I was always the one they just threw under the net, you know, but I had no endurance, like wheezy going up and down the court. It wasn't until I
Wheezy.
found something like powerlifting at the age of all things, 37, I find powerlifting.
That's the beautiful thing about it, though.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy is I'm never going to get to be an Amanda.
Right.
I'm never going to get to be an elite lifter to her status, but that doesn't mean I can't still, like we've talked about my goals for this year. I want to get to a point where when I'm going to a local meet, I can still pull some hardware and I
Yeah.
can compete with, for the first time in the 3 meets that I've done, I was at the end of the pack of my flight and it felt so good.
Yeah.
but-
Because that means that you're lifting more weight than a lot of the
Right.
other people.
Right,
Right.
Yeah.
But like you said,
Coming off of injury and all that shit, and you're still doing
Right.
better.
Yeah.
these athletes, this is all they do. They get up in the morning, they go, they go and they train. I'm a mom.
Yeah.
I spent this entire first week, like I got into the gym on Monday, barely. And I had a super sick kid all the way through Wednesday. Then I had a dog on Thursday who'd gone in for surgery for her teeth
Yeah.
and was super sick. Like I would put my amount of sleep this week at its bare minimum. Like coffee has been my best friend this
Right,
week.
right.
And
And
it
that
sucks
bang.
because I'm still pulling in, like I still got into, the bang that's in front of me right now. I got into the gym one day and thank God for RPE training where you literally stop and go, hold on, what's my body going to be capable of tonight? I wound up spending most of the night working on soft tissue work,
Yeah.
some mobility. I still got my body weight squats in because obviously, in case you don't know, I'm rehabbing my squat after a meniscus tear. But I remember thinking, am I going to try to pull some deadlifts? And I said, no, not tonight. It just wasn't in it. And
That's powerful right there. To be
Yeah.
able to say no.
it sucked. It sucked a lot because I literally sat next to Batterberry as he was benching and I'm like, I feel so lame.
But that
But
shows,
I'm like, I can't do it tonight.
Yeah,
It'll hurt
that
me.
shows your maturity, and there's a dynamic that you have to balance too,
Yeah.
right? Because there's situations where you don't feel like you should deadlift, but you should deadlift.
Yeah.
Right.
You know? And you got to know
There's
when to
noth-
make the call. You
there's
got to
Like
know.
post Thanksgiving dinner and you're like, I
Yeah.
did this to myself and I still
Yeah.
need to deadlift.
Right.
And then you pull a 265 in the gym and you feel really good about yourself.
Yeah, like that.
I don't know who did that. That's
Like-
okay.
Like that.
But
Fuck
that's the thing, right? Is as a lifter, you got to be able to make those calls,
Right.
and that will dictate how good of a lifter I think you are. Is
Right.
being able to make those decisions on when to push it and when to pull back. I
Mhm.
think that's a maturity that a lot of people. I mean, you can really only develop it with time, because you got to be able to know your body. You got to be able to know
Yeah,
how
you
you're
got to
feeling.
push it so many times and screw
Yep.
up so many times.
Right. You got to be able to have an intelligence about how you feel,
Mhm.
how the weights are feeling, and know whether it's worth pushing it or know if it's going to be a detriment.
I
to-
remember a time I tried to snatch 18 times before I got it.
which
You
was
actually
yesterday
got
because
it?
you're
Which was-
a maniac.
Oh, yeah.
That
I
doesn't
got it.
happen.
Oh, when I was back in the bubble and I could yell, every single rep, I would yell once, walk up to it, try it. Rest my 90 seconds to 2 minutes, try it again and again. 18 repetitions and I finally got it.
Wow.
But how shitty do you think I felt for weeks?
Yeah.
Right? Because I was
Yeah.
so burnt out. Just constantly trying to hype up and do it again.
Well,
and
yeah. I was
so, I
gonna
mean,
say
I've
not even
learned-
necessarily physically, but mentally just
Oh.
burnt from that.
And it was on a Friday and I have a Saturday morning workout,
yeah.
which went terribly.
I
right?
bet. Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, with maturity, I'm matured a little bit. I don't try it 18 times. Usually, if on the second or third try, I know if I'm getting it or not.
yeah.
That's one of the reasons I've actually quit taking video on the majority of my bodyweight squats because it bothers me so much that it looks like trash because I didn't squat for 4.5 months.
Yeah.
And now with my super tight hips, ankles, and everything else from all that mobility shit, when you look at it from bar path to everything else, all this stuff that I worked so hard on for a year is like in that, yeah, it's like riding a bike, but you're not really, you still got training wheels, like trying to come back into it.
Yeah.
And I stopped taking videos because I would obsess over them.
Yeah.
And now I told this to Batterberry that night that I opted not to deadlift. I said, but I'm feeling my glutes and I'm feeling my quads. And every time, and I slowed them way down. They were basically like a pause squat. I'd sit down and then I would try to drop my posterior chain back because that's my biggest thing is my ass is like a Ludicrous video high up in the fucking air. So I would try to just relax
My
because I'm not comfortable.
Right.
face down, ass
Ass
up.
up.
Well, and that's what we
Yeah.
talked about when
Jesus. That's
when
why
we
she likes to
mentioned pause squats and
Yeah.
pause lifts is you want to spend a lot of time in that area that you're not very comfortable in because you'll get comfortable in that area.
Right.
Right? And when you haven't felt your glutes fire because you find out you're hamstring dominant and your glutes aren't firing, I remember saying to Cole, we had this long conversation and he was helping me work on it. I was like, I don't feel comfortable in the hole. I said, I feel like I'm in no man's land. I feel nothing. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. And so I had this constant fear in the back of my head that this weight and I are not coming back up. Well, now doing some banded bodyweight squats, I'm allowing myself to, one, get comfortable. So those knees are starting to stretch a little bit. And then two, I've been watching a lot more about butt wink
Yeah.
because they talk a lot about your posterior chain. And I'm realizing that I do the opposite.
Yeah.
Like
you
I
have
keep
the
my back
inability
Yeah.
to butt wing.
Really?
Yeah, it's
she
horrible.
can't.
It's bad.
That's
like,
crazy.
Right?
It's
It's
ridiculous.
so hard for me not to wink.
It's like an
sometimes.
elevator straight. It doesn't even like, it just stops. Like,
Because her hips are so tight
Yeah.
that it doesn't even let her pelvis
Keeps-
drop underneath.
yeah, keeps
you know
it
what I mean?
lordotic, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So I literally would stop
the back pain
and
she
feel
must have.
myself kind of pulling back a little bit and trying to get more comfortable on my heel a little bit.
Yeah.
So God, it takes forever, but man,
Donald Duck syndrome.
Yep.
yeah, it's exactly. Oh my God,
You look
the
like
DD.
Donald Duck when you
DD.
fucking squat, bro.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I
Donald
do.
Duck syndrome.
Except for I wear pants.
Jesus. Fine.
Thank God.
That
Daisy
is like-
Duck. No, what?
No, Donald is fine because he's
No,
a
what's the chick's
dipshit.
name?
I love it.
Daisy.
Daisy Duck.
Daisy.
Yeah.
Duck.
Daisy Duck,
Sure.
Donald Duck, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and
Mixed.
And Stewie.
Mick Scrooge.
Yeah.
Huey, Dewey, Louie,
Doc.
yeah.
Uncle Scrooge.
Yeah.
Scrooge
I-
McDuck.
Scrooge
DuckTales.
McDuck. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
Actually, we just watched that yesterday, the Christmas one.
All right. So you mentioned foam rolling. And this is one thing that irritates me too, because they say foam rolling, you're doing myofascial release, right? And basically, so let me
Release.
explain what most people think is happening when you're foam rolling.
Massage.
Most people think when you're foam rolling, you are basically breaking up a bunch of myofascial tissue, right, in your
Mhm.
muscle, and it's loosening it up.
Loose.
So the truth
Release.
is, the amount of pressure that you would need on your muscle to actually release this myofascial tissue, release whatever
Mhm.
that means, would be like 6 tons.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
It has to be a crushing force because your muscle is strong.
right. So that's not happening when you're
Mm.
doing that.
No.
Let me explain to you what's happening. Not you, just so listeners.
Right, yeah.
Basically, and this is very interesting, and I think it's a valuable thing. It's in situations where you need it, it definitely can be valuable, right?
Mm.
But basically what you're doing is a tight muscle is tight in defense of something, right?
Right.
It's sore, something else is sore.
Pre-injury, something.
Right. So
yeah.
the muscle is tight. It's trying to protect you.
Mm-hmm. It gets into a knot if you can visualize that.
Yeah. So what you're doing when you are exposing that to the stimulus of the foam roller or the lacrosse ball, you're putting pressure on that area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Which should be painful.
it should be painful, and your mind is registering that pain.
Mm-hmm.
And then the more you do it, you'll notice that it'll get less painful, and the muscle will loosen up a little bit, right? What's happening is you're giving that area stimulus, and nothing catastrophically wrong is happening.
Right.
So your mind is going like, oh, okay, this is okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can release a little tension here.
Right.
So you're sending in a neurological signal
Yeah.
that's telling your mind that, or you're telling your nerves and your muscles that like, it's okay to release this. Nothing's bad going to happen.
Right.
So that's what's actually happening. And
But it's still a rubber band. So even though you have this ball on there and it's literally taking that rubber band and pulling it, let's say it's a ball. So you're literally taking that rubber band and stretching it over the ball. That rubber band eventually goes back.
right.
Right? It stretches out and then it takes 20 minutes, let's say, and it can be re-knotted up right away.
Yeah, you're not necessarily doing.
You're not fixing anything.
Yes, so that's where I think the positive place it can play a role is if you're really sore and you need to get through a session and your hip flexors are just killing you, and it just sucks at the bottom of the squat, and you're like, fuck, man, what can I do to make this feel a little better?
Get through it. Yeah.
Throw a lacrosse ball, lay on it a little bit, loosen up those hip flexors a little bit. You may not even be loosening anything, honestly. You're
just
probably
blunting
not.
the pain.
You're basically just telling your mind like, hey, nothing's bad gonna happen.
Right, just do it.
Give me, So I think that's interesting, and I think that a lot of people don't know that that's actually
from a
happening.
recovery standpoint. It still can be beneficial in two ways. If you have a foam roller and you're doing it smooth and slow, you're not rolling pinning your leg, you can help flush lactic acid out, which can be beneficial. Also, that there is a signaling process going on. So it's inflamed or tight or whatever. You put this ball on there, which is going to cause more inflammation. It's going to swell a little bit more, but you're kind of not only reminding your body, hey, there's some issue down here. Maybe there's just a sack full of shit that you need to get rid of or whatever. There's a lot of lactic acid buildup. That's usually why IT bands are so tight. It makes your body reaware that, oh shit, I need to recover right here.
Yeah.
But again, it's still going to take days. It's still going to take weeks. It's still going to take you constantly going back to it.
And that's the
years.
that's literally the same exact function that's happening when you do a Graston massage as well.
Yep. Or a hot bath or ice or anything.
You're just trying to amp up that recovery process. You're telling your body, especially with Graston. So for people who don't know what Graston is, it's like a scraping method. They take like a piece of metal,
a butter
or
knife and a coconut oil. That's what I've done.
And you rub that like pretty aggressively over that part of your body that's sore or whatever. And you'll see it actually like lights up and starts to bruise.
Yeah.
So the idea behind that is you are bringing more blood and signaling that area to bring so your body can come in and help recover that a little bit better.
But it's not like, oh, all of a sudden it's fixed now.
No.
That's not the case. It's your body can pump some fluid in there.
You're
but
just
if there's
sending
some
in the
damage,
reinforcements.
Yeah, if there's some damage in there, it's still again. So I've used Graston before on really tight areas, like my pec or something like that. What it's helped me do is it gets that stagnant blood out of there. It's like, oh shit, and my body just push it through. Okay, here's some new stuff. It's just a nice way to get that stagnant shit out.
Yeah, and I've heard that people say that they do. I haven't read any studies on this or anything, but that it can help break up some scar tissue.
It did for my fiance.
Okay.
She had some nasty scar tissue where she lost the use of her pinky toe.
Yeah, I think we talked about this in one of the first episodes.
And through like 3 or 4 Graston experiences, I guess, treatments, she actually regained control of that toe.
Yeah,
which is
and that's
cool.
what I experienced too. I had some Graston on my pec, and I had a big old lump in there.
Yeah.
And now I don't.
Yeah, right. And who knows if it was the Graston or a combination of everything you were doing, the dry needling you did and all the other shit.
Yeah.
But there are still some modalities that do work. It's just with foam rolling, bringing it back. If you're going to foam roll, there's got to be a damn good reason.
Yeah.
It shouldn't just be, I foam roll my IT bands every single day.
Right.
It's not necessarily going to help you at all.
No.
So at my local gym, we're doing a weight loss challenge, okay? Now, we didn't want to be like some of the other gyms in the area where it's whoever can lose the most weight wins. It's not
So every gym in the
a
freaking
world.
and especially in St. Cloud, Sartell, Waite Park area, Sauk Rapids, is doing a 6-week challenge.
Yeah.
Every gym.
Every single gym. Yeah. So some gyms are set up where if you lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks, your next 6 weeks are free.
Okay.
Okay. Which most people, they just cut water at the end and they get it. Other places are, hey, if you lose the most weight, you're going to win $1,000, $8,000. You know, some of them can get pretty crazy. Even some businesses are doing 6-week challenges amongst their employees.
That's crazy.
So our gym, we were like, okay, if we're going to jump on this bandwagon, we're at least going to try to do it a little better.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be inches and body fat percentage loss. We're going to track your water. We're going to track your weight. You can't just go 3 weeks, lose 5 pounds. The last 3 weeks, you lose 14. We're not going to let that happen.
Okay.
So it basically comes down to inches and body fat percentage.
Right.
Weight loss is great, but we're not necessarily concerned with what the scale says.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's say you put on 8 pounds of muscle, which you won't in 6 weeks, but let's just say, and you lose 9 pounds of fat. You're only down 1 pound.
Right.
But your body looks
composition.
very different. Yeah. So inches, right? So I was working with a guy really closely, and he was the type that should have won. You know, he's like 6'2". He was 240 pounds at the start. He spent the whole summer just doing cardio, so no weights really at all.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to put him in a weight program, and he was going to put on muscle and, you know, things like
Yeah.
that. He ended up losing a net of 15 pounds.
Okay.
I can't remember how many inches total because we check all over arms,
Yeah.
legs. There's 20 something points of reference, but it was 15 inches, 13 inches, whatever. And what had happened with him was he gained inches in his legs, he gained inches in his arms, but he lost a ridiculous amount of inches in his torso,
Which is what everyone wants.
which is what everyone wants, right? But from a net inches
Inches
loss
lost.
standpoint,
He got fucked.
he got fucked.
Yeah.
So when you look at, again, we tracked water, we tracked weight, we tracked muscle, we tracked all of these things. We use 2 different scanners. So we have one that spins you on a turntable, the Staiku.
Yep.
And then we have the in-body scan where you grab onto it and it checks you from within somehow. I don't
Yeah.
even know, voodoo magic. But he lost like a half a pound of water, which is expected if you're going to lose that much weight.
Right.
But he literally lost 15 pounds of fat. He didn't gain any muscle necessarily, at least according to what it said. But again, it could have been off because he got a lot stronger. You know,
Yeah.
whatever.
Either way, it's tough to lose or gain muscle when you're in a calorie
Exactly,
deficit. Yeah.
exactly. So the people he lost to did no weights. They just cut weight. All they did was cardio. Most of it lost was water, but because their inches went down, they ended up winning. So my guy who actually lost, so if you were to take away, he gained inches in his arms and legs because he got more muscular, and then he lost, it was like 20 inches or something around his torso.
Mm-hmm.
If you took the arms out of it, he'd have smoked everybody, right? But again, so for our competition, I don't know if any, you know, backs were being rubbed or scratched or, you know, whatever, because there was money on the line. So who knows? I'm not saying that happened, but it could have. The guy who won is a great guy too. But if you looked at how much body fat was lost, my guy won. So 15 pounds, no one lost that much fat. If you looked at how much percentage was lost, he lost the most body fat percentage. But he lost because he didn't even podium, didn't even get third place because he didn't
Really?
lose as many inches.
Wow. Seems like a flawed.
Oh, for sure.
Measuring scale.
So pissed though, because the whole time I'm like, you've got this, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I had him dialed down to you get this much caffeine in a day, you get this much water, you get this, that. We had it dialed in. In 6 weeks, he lost 15 pounds of fat, which is great.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He jumped into a strength training program. He was only working out 4 to 5 hours a week, so it's not like he was doing a crazy amount.
Right.
He didn't do anything too drastic.
Here's my opinion.
Yep. They all suck.
Well, this is just a flaw with the whole challenge thing, right? Is anytime, and I just had this discussion with Brooke actually, so it'd be nice if she was in here, but she's gone at the moment. Because she's trying to lose some weight.
Okay.
And she wanted to put
goals like per month of pounds lost.
Yeah.
And I'm not with that.
Yeah.
I'm against that.
Yep.
And that's the same type of thing that they do when they do these challenges,
Right.
right? You want to lose as much weight as possible by this day,
Right.
right? So your guy, granted he might not have won, but he is going to be set up far better in the future
Yes.
than these other people.
I'm sure
Because
that
these other people, they did these crash diets.
Yeah.
All they were thinking about is how low they could be that day. They're just cutting calories like just stupid, right? It's
Right.
not sustainable. You can't have
I think
you
the
can't
guy
have
who won
800
was
calories
on
a day.
1,100 calories.
Right. That's
yeah.
just not sustainable. So
No.
what's going to happen after he weighs in that day? He's going to go fucking crush a
I've
pizza.
talked to this guy. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
actually regained 7 or 8 pounds in a week.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Where my guy, he had a little bit of pie or something. He gained a half a pound and it's gone again.
Right.
So maintenance wise,
Yes. Because that's the issue that I have with this whole weight loss culture is that I think I've mentioned this on a prior podcast before too, but the odds of anyone going on a diet, right? If you lose, I think it's like over 20 pounds, 95% of people are going to gain that weight back and more. So the issue that we are having with weight loss in this country is not losing weight.
No.
People can lose weight, right? But it's keeping weight off. It's
Yeah.
being sustainable. And I don't think that these challenges are promoting that.
No, by
at
no
all.
means. By no means.
Because it's just like, I'm going to reward you for being very light this day.
Right.
But I don't
'Cause you
care.
did it
I
for
don't care
3
what you
months.
are next week or
Yeah.
the week after, the week
Yeah.
after that, you know?
I wish there was a contingency where it was, we're going to re-weigh you in 1 month, 6 months, and a year out.
That's what I was going to say.
If
there
you
was like a
gain more
long
than
term
15% back, you cannot qualify for the next one, or where people just try to do them to
maybe
get a bunch
what
of
if
money.
there was like incentives for every month, and then like at the end of the year, then there was like a grand prize.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
but again, so at the end of the year, are you just going to put it all back on?
Right.
So maybe,
But it'd be even a year timetable. You're going to have to be much more sustainable in your diet practices than
For
you're
sure.
going to be in 6 weeks.
and you're going to change your lifestyle a lot more.
exactly.
And you're more likely to succeed. But again, you can easily go right back and gain all that weight right back.
right.
Again, in a perfect world, it'd be 1 month, 6 month, a year, and then every 6 months after, we give you $100 if you can stay within 10%.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
It would have to cost a lot of money though to run something like that.
right.
But
And maybe
Why not give them free membership?
yeah, that would be cool.
Your membership stays free as long as you keep a certain percentage off.
That would be really
sick.
cool.
Or insurance gives you more money.
If the Blue Cross, Blue
Dude,
Shield
if they
did
could
that.
like implement that government wise or insurance wise, that
Right.
would be huge. Because
Yeah, for every year you keep it off, we take another 2% off your premium.
Or we completely cover your gym membership if you. So like in order to qualify for this coverage, you have to do the challenge.
Yeah.
And then if you maintain within that 10% of what you were on that weigh-in date continuously, then we'll continue to pay for your.
That
all
would
your
be
gym.
awesome. That would also prevent people from cutting extreme
That's what I'm
right
saying.
at the end.
Yeah.
Because they have to keep within 10%.
I could see them though adding in another party to this, and I could see that party being the doctor.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I know anytime like with my husband's insurance, each year we have to do a physical, and it's filled out by the doctor, and we actually get a fat ton of cash back.
Yeah.
Literally, they cut us a check because we go in, we get that physical, that preventative physical. So that's already a step above.
Yeah.
Right.
But then it also helps them to also be like, so,
Yeah. Yeah.
ma'am, you said you were blah blah blah,
Right,
but
right.
That would be cool.
the results say that is false. You
Yeah.
know, it's like Maury Povich up in there.
I
But,
wish we knew somebody at like Blue Cross Blue Shield that we could talk to about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of moving pieces in that concept, but if there could be like a government, just like an incentive program,
Right.
You know, I don't know.
You know what though? Why not even include the government? Why not just make it something if your gym is already going to be doing? Because you're talking about the 6-week transformation of
Yes.
the gym, right? Here's the deal. I did that 6-week transformation. I didn't get a single follow-up from anyone at the gym.
No, I know.
I didn't. I had my first Staiku body scan,
Right.
and nothing. I heard from no one until I was announced that someone had won.
So
I honestly thought they forgot to sign me up because I knew that in my flight they were short people.
yeah.
So I paid my $100,
Right.
and I never heard from anyone else through the entire 6 weeks. I never had a in the middle. I never had a hey, how's it going? Nothing. So I literally just burned a $100 bill.
right.
Yeah.
So
That sucks. There,
That's-
right there is a follow-up issue.
for sure, and that's not the first time I've heard that. It comes down to whoever signed you up.
I'm not
and
gonna
I-
say who signed me up.
Well, I'm sure I know who signed you up, and there is a follow-up issue. Yeah, there is a follow-up issue, and I don't know if it's maybe they're overwhelmed because there's 30 people, but if that's the case, get someone else.
or you don't take as many flights.
Exactly.
What do you do all day?
Yeah, for sure. You should be just following up with people all day long, right? That should be your job description. But
I didn't even technically, when I knew that they were still looking for people in my flight, because I saw them posting on Facebook,
Yeah.
hey, this flight, we're still looking for people. So then I'm thinking, are you actually starting this flight then?
Right.
And I heard nothing of it. And I remember one of the girls at the front desk was like, so how you doing? Did you do your middle scan? I go, what middle scan?
Right.
She goes, what? And I go, oh my God, has it even technically started?
right.
And I heard nothing back.
Did you know you had to do an essay too?
What?
Yeah. See, if you
No.
were going
That's
to,
crazy.
yeah, you had
Was
to
it
have
somewhere-
an essay. Yeah.
Was it somewhere in like paperwork and like
Yeah.
fine print that I didn't read?
Well,
Whoops.
the reason for
the
that being
person that
is
signed you up should have told
yeah.
you.
If there was some reason there was a tie, let's say, so two people had the exact same change, then it's whoever had the most heart wrenching story. You know, like my whole life changed because of blah 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 blah.
I would
It's-
have wrote it first.
Yeah.
If I
But-
knew that was happening, I'd be like, no, homework done.
I think it's a follow-up thing, but then I also think it's an old school mentality thing, because even some of the recommendations those people were giving out for food and things like that, it's so old school.
He wasn't happy because I said I was keto and I wasn't even going to look at his stuff.
Oh yeah.
And
there
I was
you go.
also in meat prep. So I was kind of like, I'm not going to look at your food plan because I can't change it. And it was bad enough that my keto had already gone into dumpster fire carbs, even though I was having massive gains. I'm not going to lie. But I also massively gained. So I wouldn't have won the 6 week challenge anyway, let's be honest. But no.
6 week weight gain. Yeah. Let's do that.
So I guess you guys don't really know my history when it comes to, I know you might. I know you don't know my history with this. I've been overweight almost all my life.
Okay.
And I, back in 2011 maybe, I decided enough is enough. I was the girl who I fell at the age of 23 and we thought I was going to have to have back surgery because I
Oh, wow.
herniated discs, right? And Kevin Hardy, who actually owns the endurance shop and has been known to work at quite a few of the gyms in town, he was just a trainer at the time, and he pulled me under his wing,
Yeah.
and he goes, no. He's like, you're not going under the
We're
knife
gonna
for this.
fix you. Yeah.
Between chiropractic and between personal training, I lost just enough weight, but the thing that was great was I had strengthened enough of my body that even my doctors were like, oh my God.
Yeah, you're good.
This is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So that's where I caught the bug. And when I had an opportunity to start with a company in town called Rejuve, they were just a little tiny office, and it was J.R. Burgess and Dr. B. And I was doing their weight loss program.
Okay.
Clean eating and body weight squats, a lot of movement and a lot of cardio, like
Okay.
45 minutes at a time, steady state cardio, get it in. I was meeting with him 3 days a week.
Okay.
It took me about a year and I lost 75 pounds, 46 inches.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. But the big difference for me was, and for some people that's okay because that was a goal for them. Other than one of my top bucket list items being I wanted to get pregnant. I wanted to be able to have a baby healthy.
Right.
And for some reason, I thought it'd be fun to run a 5K. After that was done, I was like, I don't know why I did all
I'm
this
not a
work for a
runner.
banana and a t-shirt. This was dumb.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I'm more of a girl who's up for the challenge
Okay.
than the run.
Yeah.
Like, could care less. Warrior Dash, on the other hand, was pretty baller.
Spartan race.
Yeah, pretty baller. Like, when I actually saw myself go up over a wall, I was like, that's so badass.
Yeah, right.
And then I got super claustrophobic in the crawl through, and I was like, I'm not doing
Oh,
this
the
again.
barbed wire. Yeah.
No, this was like an actual tunnel.
Oh, okay.
Like, and it was dark
Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
muddy. And I have this, being the fat kid in class always, this like, am I
Afraid
going to
to
get
get
my butt
stuck?
stuck in the
Yeah,
tunnel? Like,
yeah.
that's going to happen.
Cartoon shit.
So,
The tunnel's 7 times bigger than you.
right. But one of my goals that actually happened that wasn't an actual goal was I deflated. Like, I've showed Cole pictures of me after my massive weight loss. And I literally, my body just deflated. And that wasn't what I wanted.
Right.
So I started doing the lifting, but that's what they ended up moving that camp into challenges.
Right.
Everything was a small group challenge.
Right.
It was 6 weeks at a time, 8 weeks at a time. And it is such a mental burnout.
Yeah, it is.
And you wind up in these weird 6-week cycles. And some people to this day are still thriving on them.
Mm-hmm.
But I literally got to the point where I couldn't even walk in that gym anymore.
Oh, I see.
couldn't look at, and it wasn't because I didn't like them or I disrespected them. It wasn't that I thought they were totally wrong. It wasn't that I had any kind of ill feelings towards the gym or the people there. But I was so mentally burnt out. And I was just literally, like, I crushed myself into the ground.
Right.
With
For 6 weeks, yeah.
or 6 weeks. This was for almost 2 years.
Well, and this is what we were talking about earlier before you came into here, is just the sustainability.
Right.
Right. That's why
the
keto
biggest
lasted
thing.
for me, 7 months? Did great on it. And I mentally was fried when we hit summertime. And instead of it being a nice, normal, well, let's kind of phase back in, I mean, it was dumpster fire. Like,
Right.
I was like,
Jump
hey,
back in.
Hey, look at you. I'm going to eat you times 4.
Right.
And I'm going to feel like I'm going to
See
throw
this
up, but
box
I'm
of
not
honey
going to
buns?
care.
Mine.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And stuff that I didn't normally eat, I was wanting to eat.
It's almost like you're pregnant all over again, the cravings you get.
Dude.
It's so bizarre.
Vanilla ice cream every single day of pregnancy. It's probably why I gained 70 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, I literally was like, I have to have vanilla ice cream or
Right.
milk, like dairy.
So talking about
nuts. Would you?
keeping
That's
your
fine.
well, no, keeping
Oh.
your results. So I work with a gentleman who he's been 450 plus pounds 3 times in his life.
Is it David?
No.
Okay.
And nope. So
He's at our gym and he's had the big up down too, and he's
Yeah,
had
yeah.
massive weight loss.
yeah,
Here and
so
there.
he dropped down to somewhere in the 230s or something the first time. Just cardio. No, just diet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All he did was just starve himself to it. The moment he decided, okay, I'm going to start putting food back up to
He
460.
couldn't, yeah, he couldn't
Yep.
help it.
Second time, he lost it all again. A little bit harder this time. He had to put in a bunch of cardio, a lot of hours. It was like 12 hours a week. As soon as he stopped, right back up. Okay. Third time. This is the third time. I've been working with him now.
How old is he, by the way?
He is 52.
Okay, so that says a really big thing too there.
Yep. Well, the first time he lost the weight, I think he was in his 30s.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's like me. The first time I lost my weight, I was 31, 32.
Yeah.
Now I'm 38, and I just did it this last year, coming into that with like the keto and stuff. And now coming into my third round, I think it's more of a mental challenge every time you have to redo it again because you
Yeah.
tell yourself that wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But then you don't feel like you have to be as strong-willed about it because you tell yourself it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be.
Well, 2 things about that. So with this gentleman, third time through, now it's a little bit of cardio, a lot of strength, and his diet's okay, it's fine. And he's been maintaining this weight loss the longest he ever has. He's older now. You'd think it'd be harder, but the thing was, number 1, change of metabolism. Cardio isn't the way to do it because muscle is really heavy. It requires a lot of oxygen. When you do cardio, your body, first thing it'll get rid of is muscle because it makes the cardio more efficient. So that's not necessarily the way you want to go. And why a lot of ladies that they lose that first 20 pounds and then gain 10 back but can't lose anymore, it's because they lost all that muscle, their body got comfortable, put on some body fat. So the second thing, every single time you lose weight, there's tons of chemicals running through your brain, but it is harder every single time because your body, in order to lose, let's say 100 pounds, the word is starvation. Is it controlled or not controlled is really where it comes down to. So there's always going to be hunger there. There's always going to be desire for food. The first time you did it, and this is with weight cutting, this is with powerlifters. This is why powerlifters, a lot of times as they get older, they have to go up in weight classes because they just can't keep cutting.
Happens a lot with MMA fighters as
Exactly, yeah. Because your body just will reject it.
well.
And again, it's because it's so brief, it's so fast, but your body remembers what it was like to be 400 pounds. 400 pounds is comfortable. You are always fed and you never have to worry about starving. When you're down to 200 pounds, your body's like, holy shit, I've got none of this food in reserve.
Its baseline is different. Than
Exactly.
It's like my
400
mom
pounds.
looking at a cupboard with no Campbell soup cans in
Yeah.
it. Like she freaks out.
Right.
Yeah.
Some
I'm like,
people,
"Mom."
some people, it can take up to 5+ years for their baseline to reset. And that's where a lot of people aren't getting the whole gist is they think, okay, if I can maintain this for a year, I'm good. That's not true.
Nope.
Because your body still remembers, I'm still really good at 350, not this 150.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing for all these weight loss challenges. So you spend 6 weeks doing it. Maybe you can maintain it for 6 weeks, but 6 weeks isn't enough to reset your baseline. It could take years.
Well, and I think the key there is when you said most people don't realize, that's because it's not being taught either.
Right. True.
This is you have to, if you're going to do a 6-week challenge, you have to look at a lot of things. It's like when you pick a new trainer, when you pick a new coach, when you even go to buy a new pair of shoes for running, you do your homework.
Yeah.
And you pick what's really going to work for you. And, prime example, there are going to be those who are literally just there to sign you up because they need to make the sales quota. And they're like, well, I know this chick's going to sign up, or I know this dude's going to sign up. So, there's some money in the kitty. And then there's the people who genuinely care. Like Kevin Hardy is the trainer who he'd know I was going to a hockey game, let's say a Wild game, and I'd get a text in the middle of it going, don't let one night at a Wild game ruin all the progress you've had this week. As I'm literally about to order like a dome dog or something like that,
Or he'd catch you the day after. How did it go?
Right?
Yeah.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Because he cares. And he doesn't have to do that. I'm not expecting him to
By
do
no
that.
means.
But he did it. And that was one of my first trainers, and it made it really hard. I'm a horrible person. I've been through so many trainers that I've said, nope, like you don't work for me. Like if you can't be honest with me and you can't lay down the law, then you're probably not going to be in it.
For sure.
And there are so many people that don't have my personality, though, to say, you're not doing this right for me.
Right.
They don't know what to expect. And so when we have people who are saying, hey, sign up for this 6-week challenge, it's going to change your life.
Yeah.
There's a reason every Medifast commercial and every Isagenix and everything has the asterisk that says, results not typical, results may vary.
May cause chronic wasting, and you might shit your pants and then bleed from your anus. Yeah, all of those.
Right.
Results
and
not likely.
It really comes, right. It
Results
comes
not
down
likely.
to education. And
If you have a heart attack, it's not our fault.
right? Well, that you've signed the waiver form. I'm sorry. Did you fall off and bleed to death in the gym? It doesn't matter. You signed a waiver.
May lose stomach, liver, lower intestines, half of your body. No big deal.
But that's the big difference, too, between
That's a good way to lose weight. Just cut your arms off.
Jesus.
Dude, signing up for Cole even. I had a different coach beforehand who was a great personal trainer and he was a great motivator, but he wasn't a great powerlifting coach because I hit a point of a learning curve where we weren't matching up anymore.
Yeah.
And he didn't have the passion to continue the education.
Right.
If you are with somebody who you're using as a mentor, as a guide, as a coach, because let's be real, if we could all do this by ourselves, we'd all be skinny, looking great, and people
Right.
would be striving to be fat, for Christ's sake. It'd be the opposite.
Yeah.
But if you find somebody that doesn't continue to educate you and continue to educate themselves,
Yeah, that's the biggest
you're
thing.
in a wrong place
Yeah,
for you.
The guy you had last time, he doesn't
He's a
educate.
great dude,
Great
but he's
dude.
not an
He
educator.
doesn't educate himself. Yeah.
Right.
But
Because he's happy with where he's at.
I was just going
And
to say he's comfortable.
95% of his clients,
yeah,
he
he's had
al-
forever.
He has, and not only that, but he has way more education than he would need for them.
Oh yeah, and they're
that's
good with
the
that.
point.
Yeah,
Right.
They're good with
And
that.
so it's not like it's a detrimental situation for them, but for me, it was more than just motivating me to get into the gym.
Right.
Yeah.
It was so much beyond that.
Right.
And that's what I found out. So it was a kind of
Learning
big old say,
experience,
well, see you later. It just kind of had to be that.
Right. So with
finally.
weight loss, a lot of people that go through, let's say, 100 pounds again, they think that because they're starting to get smaller, that their fat cells are disappearing. Fat cells don't do that.
They
They just
never
get
go.
smaller, right?
But you do gain more.
Yes, you can. Yep. I've recommended this one time and it was a joke, but I was kind of serious. If you've lost 200 pounds and you have the classic rolls, those rolls are still filled with fat cells, you still might want liposuction.
Yeah.
Suck them old bitches out.
I already told you if I can ever hit my weight, because I don't think we're having any more kids. Oh, I'm going in for the mommygram. I'm doing the whole thing. Mama's gonna be out of it lifting for like 6 months, but it's gonna be so worth it.
It's one hell of a shock to your body because you're sucking out all these cells. But if there are cells that you've worked towards to lose, and let's say 2 years later you still have lost all this weight, it's still down, you're kind of still dangling the carrot over the horse's mouth. It's still at any point could come right back. Again, as a joke, but I'm kind of serious.
No,
get
for reals.
liposuction. Yeah, get rid of those old cells. Don't take any more. Don't take any extra. Just get rid of the ones that I'm not using.
Do you want a fun fact? And this might actually help you guys out when you're dealing with female clients. When I went keto, as you can ask Cole, I'm a nerd. I literally, I get the textbooks out and I learn. And one of the things that I read in a couple different medical journals is the fact that your estrogen is stored in your fat cells.
Yep.
So as you start to burn down and shrink those fat cells, you're releasing estrogen into your body.
Menopause.
So not even menopause. No, just
No, those hot flashes.
think
and
about
your,
it this way.
Your
Like,
ass starts to grow and your skin looks so good, and she's cutting
Right?
off my mic.
You're
Oh, I thought for
glowing.
sure.
well, think about it this way. Like, all of a sudden, you have a female client who's super motivated, and I'm a prime example of it. Like, my hormones will just flip, and you can tell. Like, he can tell the second I walk into the gym. Like, Ken Grack said this too up at American Strength in Maplewood. He goes, I don't even ask anymore. I can tell. I can tell by the way they carry themselves. I can tell. I can tell by the fatigue that's in their eyes. I can tell the whole thing. And imagine someone who isn't competing to a goal, who doesn't have programming in front of them, who's just that general weight loss client. And all of a sudden, you think to yourself, why are they having such a hard time with this all of a sudden?
Right.
What's highly possible is as that fat is starting to kick down, they are literally releasing the demons like into their body.
Yeah.
And estrogen is funny because estrogen, there's two forms. There's the estrogen that's being used and there's the free estrogen. Okay. Free estrogen is a busybody. Even though it doesn't really need to be doing anything, it goes, I want to do something. So that free level of estrogen in your body is actually one of the most detrimental levels, because what it's going to do is it's going to grow on and go, what can I do?
Right.
And that was something I read when I was at Rejuve, because we were doing hormone testing.
Yeah.
And I'm in the process right now of potentially looking for a nutrition coach because, again, dumpster fire over here. And I'm getting older. So I'm getting to that point where I've realized between keto and trying to just do macros, my body is weird with carbs, and I have to learn how to use them the right way,
Right.
so that I can power my lifts, but I can still lose the weight
Yeah.
and get rid of some of the
That's
fat
the thing-
mass.
That's the thing about carbs too, is carbs, like out of all the macros, carbs, fat, and protein, I think carbs need to be used like as a tool. That's why carb timing has gotten popular. That's why, like, they're the most. You have to use them in certain ways. That's why I think carbs should be used as tools. You know, the people, you put them around your workouts. You know, you have to use them sparingly, and they can also bite you in the ass.
Right. Yeah. Get the most carbs before and the most carbs after, and for the rest of the day, you kind of just
Yeah, I
chill.
say, well, my general guideline is 50% of your daily carb intake should be around your workout. So like
Yes.
25% before, 25% after your workout.
Yeah. And for me, because I play around with a lot of intermittent fasting, I'll spend.
likey.
Yeah. I only eat 2 meals a day.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing too.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice.
It is. It's nice. One, you get, for me, and this is a lot of keto freaks talk about this too, but it's one thing that I even enacted today. Carbs make me, I crash hard off of carbs. So like today, I only had one meal before we came in here. We came in here at 2.
Yep.
I slept in, got up, and I had just eggs because I wanted very low carbs, because I knew if I had a ton of carbs, I'd feel really good for about half hour, hour, and then I'd get tired. And that's why in the mornings too, on a normal work week, I won't have any breakfast.
Yeah.
So I get
Push it
up
up.
at 3:30,
Yeah.
and I don't have any food until first break at 9:30. So, and I go to bed at like 8:30. So I'm not eating from 7 until 9 the next day. So that's kind of where I get my intermittent fasting.
Right.
But I feel so good in the mornings. You know, you like all
Running on a little adrenaline.
yeah, and then right around that 9:30 mark, I'm like, okay, you know, I'm hungry, but like just burning. I mean, that's the keto thing. I don't know how true this all is, if it's short term, but burning off of quote unquote fat, you know, in the mornings there, I don't know if it's necessarily doing that or if I'm just
you're already, I mean, you're burning off some of the energy that's already in your bloodstream too,
yeah,
because your body's constantly creating energy.
just cognitively, I feel
Yeah.
way better.
Yeah. And you're allowing your body to retool your liver, your stomach, realign it so that when you do take in food, you can digest it even better.
Yeah,
Well, remember with keto, the biggest goal with keto, that I have heard and I've had people talk to me about is becoming fat adapted,
Yes.
which means your body just automatically goes to keto immediately.
Yeah.
That takes time. However, to get into ketosis, it's always funny to me when people figure this out. Your body is automatically going to kick into ketosis as soon as its glucose stores are gone.
Right.
Right.
So HIIT cardio, you don't eat in the morning, you go do a little bit of HIIT cardio, even if it's only 5 minutes of it, you are going to blow through every single last little bit of glucose in your system. And then your body's going to go, whoa, 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 what's up? Now, most people would say MCT oil and things like that because you're all of a sudden putting those fats that work to just kickstart your ketosis
Yeah.
right there. The other thing too is as long as you keep your electrolytes high, and if we're in a workout scenario, I would recommend more than just drinking the chicken broth that we talk about,
Right.
you know, like I'm a huge fan of Caged Muscle Hydrocharge. Stuff's fantastic. John Batterberry is now, he believes in Gatorade triple scoops now, by the way.
Hell yeah.
Thanks to you.
Yep.
He's like, I feel
Gatorade
really
triple
bloated, but
scoops.
man, I just feel so good.
Yeah.
like,
It's
I'm
that
like, you're a
sodium
geek.
bloats, those electrolytes.
Like, welcome to electrolytes, dude. How
Right.
long have you been lifting?
And on
Yeah.
keto, it's really hard to have enough electrolytes in your system because there's no water really being stored. There's not enough carbs in your muscle to hold all of it. So you need a lot more salt. You need a lot more of that shit.
And that is where you get rid of that keto flu they talk about, where you don't feel good, you get fuzzy, you get the headaches, you get kind of nauseous. You up your electrolytes, even
And
if
it'll
it's
help
as
with
much
that?
as Poppins, like you could be as grody as eating a tablespoon of salt really quick. Or I've even, like in the past when I've been in a hurry, I've literally popped a bouillon cube in a cup full of water. And I mean, when I was in the beginning stages of keto, I was taking in almost 6,000 milligrams of sodium a day.
yeah.
And I had zero water weight. I had zero bloating, zero everything. That is a great benefit.
Right.
Yeah.
But you do get to a point where you just can't eat any more cheese. And it is so it is so much work to try to make keto bread. It is so much it is
yeah.
so much work. So if you are willing to put the work in, keto can actually be a really great lifestyle that you can keep.
Right.
But as a mom and as someone who has 2 people in her household
That don't
do
eat
keto,
Yeah.
Right.
and they don't even do vegetables half the time, damn it. You know, I've always known that I was the unicorn. Like, I have to make my own food
Right.
for the most part. And to try to go into creating my own bread and, you know, like all these different noodles. And I'm just like,
Right.
you know what? I'd rather shotgun a Coors Light and pray I don't bloat. It's true.
That's
You have
hilarious.
some dope videos of you shotgunning.
By the way,
beers, by the way.
That is my only stupid human trick. I am an amazing shotgunner of 16-ounce Coors Lights.
I think we should shotgun some bangs one day. Right before
That might kill me,
right
actually.
before a podcast, just
You know-
pierce the bottom and crack the top.
That'll
Start
be when
sucking.
I'm not in because you don't want to see that.
Start
No?
sucking.
You've seen me when I take pre-workout. It's not a good idea.
But this
Can you
is
imagine me
yeah.
shotgunning a bang?
300
milligrams, like, isn't it 300 milligrams?
What?
Yeah.
I'm
300
gonna say it.
milligrams.
What a wimp. What a.
Me?
What a wimp.
No, you say that now until you have to spend a little time in a small room with me after a bang. Wait.
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 Right. So with weight cutting, if you want to maintain the weight, that's one thing. If you're just trying to cut weight for a competition, that's totally different.
Yeah. Weight cutting for performance is very different.
Well,
than
yeah,
what
because
we've
there's
been
an
talking
end.
About.
Yeah.
Yeah, than what we've been talking about. So shout out to Austin Meathouse Heiler. I think that's how you say his last name. You guys don't know him.
Don't know.
Oh, I
anybody.
was like, you're looking at me like I should answer you, and I'm
No.
like, I don't know who that
Bro.
is.
No,
Don't know
shout
him.
out Meathouse. He's the one that wanted us to talk about weight cutting. So weight cutting is I'm just gonna start from basic, as if no one knows what weight cutting is. So I was a wrestler in high school. Weight cutting is a big thing in wrestling. You're pretty much you're maneuvering your liquids in your body to get down to a certain weight. So because it's very acute. It's called acute weight loss because you're going to be at that low weight for a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
So basically the only thing you can do to geez, I'm getting brain dead now. But to move that body weight in that short amount of time is maneuver your liquids.
Yeah, your water
in your
intake.
body and all that. So people will cut weight for competition in order to,
Or a 6-week challenge.
or yes, but
I don't know why I didn't think of that.
Cutting
See, I could have just cut and been like, I got my Rogue bar.
Yeah, there you go.
for every
no.
gallon of water, it's 8.5 pounds.
Dang. But
Anyway.
strictly performance-wise, right? So if someone's doing a powerlifting meet and they want to cut weight, there's a couple different reasons why. One, you have to make a weight class, right? So if your natural body weight is right around, let's say you're going for the 205-pound weight class, and your natural body weight is like 215, you could do a water cut and get down to 205 for that weight, right?
Take you 3 days.
Yeah. So people will do that, one, to make a weight class, two, because a lot of these competitions are, some of them are based off of your body weight versus your amount of weight lifted. So for powerlifting, as of now, we're still using the Wilks formula, but from what I've heard, that's about to change. And a lot of competitions will be judged on that. So if it's like a small local meet, if it's called an open, then basically they just pool everyone together, and then whoever has the biggest Wilks coefficient wins.
Mm-hmm.
So people will cut weight to get to maximize their Wilks coefficient. So they'll be, for that weigh in, they'll be as light as possible, and then that way the weight lifted will look better, whatever.
Right.
So there's a couple things about weight cutting. One, you have to find the happy medium between where it's going to affect your performance and where you can do it
You
healthy,
have to do
where
a few
you could,
trial runs.
yeah, potentially. There's different ways to go about it, especially acute weight loss. If there's two different federations that powerlifting revolves around in the United States, and we've talked about them before, USAPL and USPA. USPA has 24-hour weigh-ins.
Mm-hmm.
So you weigh in 24 hours before you lift.
Which is like a fighter would do.
Yes.
Which is amazing, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
You can
Kind
put
of.
back 20 pounds.
exactly. And that's what I was going to say is a bigger window like that is going to allow you to cut more weight because you have more time to rehydrate. You have more time to refill those stores that you depleted to get down there. USAPL, on the other hand, is much more like high school wrestling, where you weigh in that day 2 hours
2
before.
hours. That's USAW is the same way.
Yeah. So you
And people look like garbage disposals trying to eat as much as they can
Right.
in 2 hours
Yeah.
without being
And
like,
they'll
I might
fuck
barf while I
themselves up.
deadlift.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing is you can really mess yourself up, because if you cut weight super hard and you weigh in, and then 2 hours later you're gonna expect your body to perform at its best, then that's not very.
Yeah, you're going to be bloated up to hell
Right,
if you do
so-
too much.
For most people, their first couple meets, do not recommend cutting weight at all.
Right.
We just want to lift the most amount of weight possible those first couple meets, right? Once you get into it a little bit and you're starting to think about cutting weight, maybe you're right in between weight classes and you want to try to get down to that weight class below, I would recommend training as you're getting your normal body weight as close as you can. I'd say within 3 to 5% of that weight class that you want to make. That way it's just going to make that weight cut smaller, therefore easier. And there's a couple different ways to go about weight cutting, but I think the best way is what's called water loading. So what water loading is like, say, the week of your meet, you're going to slowly increase your water intake, and you're going to keep your sodium intake relatively the same, right? So let's say Monday, I have a gallon. Let's say you're competing on Saturday.
Mhm.
So you probably won't start this until Wednesday, actually. Wednesday, gallon. Thursday, gallon and a half. Friday, 2 gallons. And then Saturday. Or actually, let's start at Tuesday. Sorry. Tuesday, gallon. Wednesday, gallon and a half. Thursday, 2 gallons. Friday, back down to 1 gallon. And then Saturday, wherever you have to be. So if you're close and your weight is close, then you might not be able to drink really anything until
Right.
after you weigh in. But
Sipping
basically
all
what
day.
that's doing, it's called water loading for a reason, because you're inundating your body with all of this water. So it's going to hike up your kidney function. It's going to hype up that process where it's flushing everything out, right? And as you get closer to that meet, your body's going to be in this hyper quick way of
Right.
processing all that liquid, and then you stop putting that liquid in.
Mhm.
And it's going to keep processing quick, and then therefore you're going to drop a lot of weight, because it's going to be
excreting all of this liquid, but you're not replacing it like you were
Right.
before. So you're going to be able to drop. I mean, it depends on how you respond to it. Also, your sodium level plays a little bit of a role. That's why if someone needs to cut more weight,
They'll
that
cut
last
their
day,
sodium.
I'll cut their sodium. Yep.
Mm.
So then they have less sodium in their body to hold on to the water, so it'll flush it a little bit
Yeah.
more. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of easy, honestly.
Right.
Water loading is,
Mhm.
but you have to be careful because you only have, for all of my athletes, except for one, is USAPL. So they only have 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
So you get down to that weight, you're pretty dehydrated.
Right.
So you have to rehydrate, eat, all within 2 hours, and
Right.
still be able to lift the most amount of weight you've ever lifted before. So the less amount of weight you can cut, the better. But sometimes you just have to do what you have to do.
Right. Sometimes just coming in fasted is good enough too.
Yeah.
Some people, if they weigh in fasted in the morning and then weigh in at night, it's 8 pounds different.
That's how it is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as you get all that food in, your
right, 'cause
body's
like I
holding
said,
onto it.
I don't eat. I stop eating at 7 at
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
So then the next morning I'll be pretty much dry.
Right. And for some people, if they only have 4 or 5 pounds to lose, maybe just adding in a little fasting.
Yeah.
It's not going to kill your performance. You don't
no.
have to cut water at all. Maybe you just drink a little less the day before.
Right, and that brings me, like, as far as food-wise, that gets kind of interesting too, right? Because you want to be able to have enough calories where you're going to have enough energy.
Right.
So that's why water loading, I would tell people to do that before they do any, like, food cutting type
Right.
stuff. But one thing that you can do is increase the calorie density of the food that you're eating. So it's probably not going to be the healthiest food, but like for me, before my last meet, I had to do a little bit of a cut. The day before the meet, pretty much all I ate was chocolate and peanut butter.
Mm.
Because that way, the food itself,
So Reese's peanut butter cups.
I was dipping Hershey's bar into a peanut butter jar and eating that.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that sounds like a dream come true.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah,
It's almost
so
sexual, I'm not going to lie.
Oh,
So-
he was rubbing it on his wiener the whole night.
Gross.
Hey, baby.
good thing I don't have a dog.
Yeah, right.
But it's your dog.
Hey, baby.
Anyone?
Lick this
Never be able to
peanut
look at the
butter off
dog
of
the
me. I'll
same.
give you a Hershey's bar after.
No, but the reason I was doing that is because the amount of weight of food that I was eating was less.
Yeah.
Because I'm still getting my calories.
Right. For sure.
Because
And it processes fast.
very fast. And 1-2 days of eating like shit, like it's not going to be the end of
Right.
the world.
Yeah, I've done things like gummy bears or
Yep.
Something high sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Even gel pouches and things like that. If it's like, okay, what's the least I have to eat to get the most calories? And
Exactly.
sometimes peanut butter for me takes a long time to digest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's usually a sugary thing. And again, for a day, if you just ramp up your carbs, not having those fats coming in isn't going to be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Not too detrimental. You might even get a performance boost a little bit.
Right.
But again, if you're dealing with your water too, because again, if you hammer carbs, you're going to put water weight on
Yep.
too.
Yep.
So if you're cutting your water but ramping up your carbs, it can kind of help.
Yeah.
Or you could just do the filet of fish gains diet that I do. It's amazing.
Just get gains.
Get rid of the bun and just do like a filet of fish or like 4 with tartar sauce.
Hashtag keto life.
Oh my God. Even non-keto, I think it's still going to be my pre-meat, like eat. Because it's still fish, so it's not super heavy, but with the carbs around it and there's still that extra fat, it's good
I love
omegas.
how she says the carbs around it.
Yeah, the carbs around the fish.
Fried, battered chicken.
It's so
Let's
fish.
talk about
It's
let's
so
talk about
good.
meat day foods then, huh?
Meat day?
Yeah.
I'm funny. Everybody else eats a lot of junk, and I don't eat a ton of junk on meat day.
Yeah.
Because it'll make you feel like shit.
Right?
That's the thing.
Feel like shit, perform like shit.
Yep.
like
'cause-
I just like people will open their bags and it will literally look like Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Save
I'm
that
like,
shit for
dude.
after.
Yeah, that's because people. I mean, it's a fad of having fucking Sour Patch Kids and having all this high sugar stuff. Like it's gonna make me stronger, dude. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get that energy,
Gonna get that
sugar.
insulin spike.
But at the end, it's true, right? You want
Right,
high carbs,
for
you want
sure.
quick acting carbs.
Mm-hmm.
but you also don't want something that's gonna make you barf during your
Right.
deadlifts.
Ooh, dude.
Yeah, I've made the mistake of gummy bears where I'll get like a really rich gummy bear
Yeah.
and I'll eat the whole bag.
You verp
through-
them, don't you?
Oh
Verp them
my
all
God.
day.
That taste stays in your mouth.
Oh, and every time you
hours.
burp, and your stomach just gets heavy. And
Yep.
it can be rough. It's so
My-
hard to perform when you're like that.
My go-to meat day foods, Uncrustables.
Really?
Yep.
They're so good.
Peanut butter jelly.
Peanut
Let's do
butter
this
jelly.
shit.
Yeah, I would have had honey and peanut butter, but
Neil-
Brooke,
Neil
Brooke
and I-
Neil ate all of them. I wanted to. I've never
Oh.
tried it before, so we're like, hey, let's
What
get this.
The fuck?
Yeah, they freaking.
Snooze, you lose, bro. We offered you like 4 times.
Fuck them.
I was in coach
They were
mode, dude.
so good.
You can find better people.
Do you
in
know
your
that they
life.
have? No, you know what? I
That
admit it.
won't
It was.
eat
It
your
was.
honey.
It was literally like me taking a baseball bat to Kerrigan's knees. It was really rude and mean, and I'm so sorry.
That was.
But
that-
is she
that was
sorry?
sad. No,
You know-
of course not.
I'm really not
I
because it
don't
was
think she
so
was
good.
sorry at all. No.
I had a good lift that day too, so I'm not going to complain about it too
The
much.
whole time was she like smacking it to it in your face?
No.
No, dude, I
That's
just
right,
went
dude.
over to like where we had all our stuff set up, and I was like looking through the bag of groceries we had, and I'm like, "Hey, Brooke, where are those honey and peanut butter Uncrustables?" She's like, and
No,
then
because that's the
they're
beauty of
gone.
Uncrustables. It's like chicken nuggets. It's like 1, 2 gone.
They're
Like,
like
but they don't weigh your
chicken-
stomach down.
Chicken nuggets.
It's like they're poppable. Like
that's what I'm saying. That's why
What?
I like them for meat day food because they freaking. Well, for you maybe not because of the peanut butter,
yeah.
but for me, I mean, it's a quick acting carbs, right? White bread,
right.
Right.
Total
jam,
sugar.
jelly, jam, total
Right.
sugar. And then for me, the peanut butter gives you the little bit longer lasting energy.
I'm
because
fasted.
It's got the fat.
I PR fasted.
Here's the deal. You could still do Uncrustables because they now have Nutella ones.
Fasted.
Just saying.
I actually move slower if I've eaten. I've realized.
Note to self: if I ever like
I-
really stick him with one, I'll make sure he eats a burrito before, so he can't catch me.
Nice.
I'm pretty
Burrito.
slow.
I used to
You'll
play.
never see me
I
eat
used
a
to play
burrito.
football fasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just something about you get a little more adrenaline. You're a little more hyped, but you're kind of walking a razor wire because all of a sudden you could tip and you get really emotional. You could tip, get really angry. It can be bad if you're fasted.
You know, I will say though, I can kind of
I'm a little bitch.
I could maybe see where you're coming from because like this last meet, it was deadlift only, and I knew I was first flight, so I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna pack a ton of crap.
Right.
And Cole asked me, so like, how much you been eating the last couple days? I go, probably like 6,000 calories of shit.
Yeah.
Like seriously, carb load. It was the worst carb load ever, to the point that I literally I can't get my ring on. Like
Oh shit.
that kind of like I
She's
was
hypersensitive to carbs.
No
dude.
Yeah.
kidding.
bad.
Especially after all that keto.
right? So the morning of, the only thing I got was my keto coffee, which is with Starbucks.
white.
It's flat white, heavy whipping cream, Splenda, right? So it has the fat content to it, but I didn't have to eat. And
But that caffeine.
and
though.
then I know, but the caffeine didn't hurt me. What hurt me was the fact that I hadn't used my pre-workout in 4 weeks. And so I had a venti flat white on top of an entire scoop of
20 ounce
Nuclear
coffee.
Armageddon.
Warfare,
Yeah.
whatever.
That
it is.
20 ounce coffee's got to have in the 200s.
It's well, I
caffeine.
actually got a quad, so it was a 4 shot of
Oh
espresso.
my God.
Jesus Christ.
So she's
lady.
I know.
she's pumping in a gram of caffeine. Let's get this shit going. Let's get this shit on the road.
Let
my
me just.
God.
That's
I
why I
didn't
was
even
like, I
think
got a little
about that.
Right?
nervous.
So 4 shots of espresso plus whatever coffee there's already in it, and then
well, that's the coffee
your
that's in the
nuclear
espresso.
assault. Take it
Probably
in the nose.
Which is-
200, at least 200.
cocaine shit.
It's. I think nuclear Armageddon is like a bang. I think it's like 300
so
milligrams.
700.
So I probably had about
About 700.
probably had about a gram of caffeine
Yeah.
in me.
Holy, no wonder.
Now
it
keep in
felt
mind,
great.
I didn't chug it though. Like I drank that coffee over the course of
An hour?
4 hours.
But still, 700 milligrams in 4 hours. You might as well have just taken it to the dome.
Well, there was one point that's how I take my
Cocaine.
pre-workout actually.
Oh my God.
Inject the
Just
caffeine straight
intravenously,
into,
just
yes.
shove it right into your leg.
Well, I did get to the point where I really thought I was
Like
going to
an
get pegged for a
EpiPen?
drug test because I literally started to like hear colors. It
Well,
was
you wouldn't
weird.
want to put it in your arm. You want it in your leg. Get that energy right there because we're deadlifting.
It did make me want to punch ladies though. Like I had to be
Do
careful.
you hear this woman right now?
It was bad. You can ask him. He told me to go stand on the corner at one point because
Yeah.
it was a
What
really
kind of a
weird
coach are you?
atmosphere.
What?
Letting
He
her have
saved my life.
700 milligrams.
He didn't. I don't think he
Holy shit.
realized.
Holy. No, I don't think he realized because right now he's like,
He's like, oh
huh?
my God, I'm going to have to
I
watch
didn't
her
know.
like a
I
hug.
had no idea.
The
that you
look
did that
of-
much.
He's like befuddled.
I didn't do the
Yeah.
math. I guess.
I
Oh
didn't
my
do the math
goodness.
until you just did. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Socrates, thanks.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
that.
You're welcome.
Man,
So,
but
you
no,
had-
it was just thank God for Cole because it was a weird atmosphere. Like all the women spent most of their time talking about, did you hear what so-and-so's husband did? And I'm like, what is the matter with you? That is not what we're here for. At one point, he literally pointed at the corner and goes, go stand over there.
I did.
Put your earbuds
I
in.
said, go get over there.
and she's shaking from 700 milligrams of caffeine.
Hey, dude, you know what matters? She hit a PR.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's all that
Was it
matters.
hard to grab onto the bar because you literally just passed through it
No,
like
didn't
a
you see that
ghost
I
'cause you were
literally
shaking so
destroyed
fast?
my hand? I
Oh
have
my
this weird
goodness.
new setup where I literally beat the crap out of the bar.
No,
Bam,
you
bam.
beat the crap out of your hand is what you do.
Well, yeah, but the bar
If
didn't
you're not
like it either.
bleeding, you're not trying.
The bar ain't bending. You're
It was
just
internally
pretending.
bleeding.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my God.
If it ain't bending, you're just pretending. I
Yep.
like it. If your shins have hair on it, you're not a real man.
That didn't
What?
rhyme.
That
I
doesn't.
don't give a fuck if it rhymed or not. I'm not rapping here.
I thought you were the next great white rapper.
The next great white rapper for Twizzlers or some shit. From some Tootsie Roll Vanilla. That's what I am. A great rapper with a W, bitch.
What are you talking
What
about?
are you talking about?
Where did you get Tootsie Rolls?
Haven't you had those
I
vanilla
can't figure
Tootsie
out if
Rolls?
I'm tripping
Dude,
out from this
it's
bang or if
Christmas.
this is happening
It
right
is
now.
Christmas time. The vanilla Tootsie Rolls are out.
Am
You're
I
not much of
high?
a... Get your candy game up, bitch.
Where do you make that connection in that puny
Because you
little
said
head of
white
yours?
rapper, and they have white rappers.
I was thinking we were just going to start
Are you
calling you
serious?
like
Yes.
Thin Mint.
You think I'm that crazy? Yes, they have a white rapper. Jesus. What did you say? Sorry.
I thought we were just, the suburban white rapper. I thought we were going to just start calling you Thin Mint
Oh my God. Ginger Snap. Thin
instead
Mint?
of M&M.
That's the worst cookie ever.
Ginger Snap?
Thin,
Shut your mouth.
Thin
Thin
Mints.
Mint?
Yeah, that's right.
Hold
you can
on.
give me that look all you want.
Oh, there we go.
Mute
That's
his
perfect.
ass, 'cause
Yeah. What
that's
the hell was that all about?
She cut my mic off. What a bitch.
All right, let's wrap this sucker up.
Drop a beat. Boom, motherfucker.
I was like, I don't have any, but I do have a potato.
Shit's about to change. Because we ain't playing no games.
Anybody? That's the only joke I got. He totally didn't even hear it.
I wasn't listening. I was
He
rapping.
said drop a beat, and I said I don't have any. I've only got a potato.
Oh my God.
Do your sign off, dude. I want to get out of here.
And that's the Coaches Collab.
Is that all you're gonna say?
What do you
This is
want me
my
to say?
first time ever being here when you ended.
Oh my
It's
God.
so epically anticlimactic.
right?
We never.
Yeah.
What should our
How do you
closing
end
be?
it?
That's usually how I say it.
The Coaches Collaboration Podcast. What do you mean you haven't subscribed yet? What the hell are you waiting for?
Come on, y'all.
The Coaches Collaboration Podcast is brought to you by The Complete Athlete, providing world-class continuing education for fitness trainers, coaches, and gyms. Online at getcomplete.net.